Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blackmagic Studios American Motorsport Association Grand National Series. Mark Murphy here with Sam Crow, and we're delighted to bring you all of the action tonight from Phoenix. And it's the new Phoenix, Sam. 200 laps, 200 miles for a big field of Xfinity cars here for the Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series. Sam, what can you tell us about this fabulous 1 mile facility?
I can tell you that I am extremely excited that we are away from plate track racing, and now it is put into the hands of skill with your throttle control, saving tires, picking and choosing when you want to pass. We have an incredible league here that has just done a great job of recruiting and filling the field with quality drivers, and it's just going to be exciting. This track will tempt you. It will actually draw you in further than you want to go and keep you there longer than you want to stay. Phoenix is just a great racetrack to drive and to navigate and to hone your skills. So I'm very excited about what tonight has to offer.
You know, I am too, Sam, and it's way too early to start talking about this, but we do have points to talk about, of course. Kyle Heath currently leads the point standings for the series on 118. Adam O'Brien second, 107. Ryan O'Donoghue, and right now Ryan O'Donoghue has the fastest lap in practice. He's third with 102, followed by Sean Merriman and Michael Moquin. That is your top five. Of course, Kyle Heath was your winner last week at Circuit of the Americas. He joins Michael Moquin as winners in this series. Adam O'Brien, though, he's been sneaky consistent. Been scoring a lot of stage points. He's been running up front. He's been running good. And so Adam O'Brien would be one to watch for, although he is, as I understand it, though he's 12th quick, he is not feeling very good tonight. So he may start it and pull it over early. We'll see. Sometimes, though, Sam, just being in a race car can be the best medicine you can have. Did we lose Sam? Sometimes his microphone.
No, you didn't lose me. I'm sorry. I was trying to listen to some things that Kendall was sharing in the driver's meeting, so please forgive the dead air. It was not intentional.
No, that's okay, Sam.
I do. Listen, before I started doing broadcasting here with P1 Broadcasting, I have been and always will be a racer, so there are some little eccentric things that get my attention when I'm in these things. So just trying to pick up on some pre-race information, so you'll have to forgive me.
That's okay, Sam. We do forgive you, and that's the great thing about the P1 Broadcasting Network. It's by the racers. It's for the racers. It is the home of champions, and certainly Sam Crow fits that bill. We are in for, as Sam said, a treat this evening. 200 laps, 200 miles here. We're going to have stage breaks at 45 and 90. So we'll have 110 laps to the finish once that final stage caution falls. They're going to have to make one green flag pit stop. 70 to 80 laps is going to be the max on fuel. Last year's winner here, Kyle Heath. But guess who is not signed in right now?
Kyle Heath.
Kyle Heath is not here, so last week's winner not in the field. And so that's going to be a storyline as well. Kyle Heath not here for the Cactus 200. But you're going to see, so you've got a chance to shake it up, maybe see a new winner. Last year, 29 total passes made by Kendall Paul, who came from the back to darn near the front to win this thing. Past winners here of the poll, Kyle Terzak and Kendall Paul. And then Kyle Heath has won both previous races at Phoenix in this series. And so we are going to have a first-time winner in the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series tonight at this track.
Unless Kendall repeats.
Well, we're going to have a first-time winner at the track because Kyle Heath won them both last year. And so.
Oh, I see. I thought you said that Kendall won it.
No, he won pole last year in the fall, but Kyle Heath beat him back to the flag. That was a tremendous race. I was spotting for Kendall in that one. Beyond that, drivers are going to have 3 sets of tires in the pits, 1 set of freshies on the car, so they're going to have to use that extra set appropriately. And I guess the question is, Sam, do tires matter here in these cars?
Tires are king. I was just having a pre-race conversation with Greg Evans, and Greg Evans was sharing just how important tires can be in this particular track. And my experience is it's always been something that you really have to take into consideration, especially if you get into a long run. Now, with the stage brakes here in the AMA, it really does kind of change the atmosphere about how you approach the race in the segments. So let's say if you start in the back and you want to work your way toward the front, you might be able to get a good sprint out of those tires for about 35 laps, but you're going to be using quite a bit of those tires, and the life wear of those tires is going to be burned to half if you're really sprinting to get up to the front and get track position under race conditions. Whereas if you ride it out, there's a good chance, and your throttle control is good, and you're minding your mark, that you can really save the tire and make up a lot of spaces late in the race, especially for drivers that are pushing the cars really hard.
100%. So we're going to see some pit strategy, guys, running it long on that last run. Guys,
that last segment it'll tell the tale.
100%. Good to see BS Bearing just said he just joined the league today. I can't wait to race next week. We can't wait to have you along in the chat. If anybody out there would like to comment, have Samurai answer questions, point to certain things in the race, feel free to drop in and have a chat. We'd love to have you. If you haven't done so already, we do have a lot of people already waiting here, Sam. 19 watch.
We sure do.
Yeah. My goodness.
It's exciting.
It is. So if you're out there, YouTube analytics tell us that about half the people that watch these things do not subscribe to the channel. So if you could do us a solid, go ahead and hit the thumbs up to like the video. Ring the bell to subscribe. Those are huge things for the channel, and we definitely do appreciate that. We're on a drive to 1,000, Sam. We're at 820, 821, I think you told me just now. So every little bit helps move us up to YouTube.
Hit that subscribe button. We would love to get to that number.
100%, man. Every little bit helps. We are into qualifying now, so we can kill Van Halen, and we're going to go ahead and get on board with Corey Crandall here, and just kind of show our fans.
This is going to be great because the top 6 speeds in practice were all within a tenth of each other. The top 6 speeds.
You know it is. We're riding on the
Well,
roof.
I take that back. O'Donoghue's fast lap was actually a full tenth ahead of some of the others. So second through a sixth, we're actually within 1 tenth.
You know we were. Everybody forgive me for the quick file explorer open. Lost my music for the qualifying rundown. So
What?
my apologies for that.
We can't have that.
I know it. We're on the roof of.
Listen, if I can disappear during a broadcast for a moment, then you can hear some music.
We are on the roof of Corey Crandall as he completes his lap. Let's go grab Greg Evans. And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to show everybody just what it looks like as you run around Phoenix. You go down into turn 3, heavy on the brakes in these cars, down to almost 100 miles an hour, 108 at the bottom there. You're going to cut the dog leg, go all the way down, as far down as you can, stand it. There's Greg. He's in 4th gear. And Greg Evans is going to back his machine into the turn 1 wall. So Greg Evans, tough break for him. Now, does he get forgiven and get one more lap? He should.
He did not complete a lap. He should be fine.
He's going to get one more. So we're going to go back. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, he should get one more lap. He should be able. He's trying to get all he can out of the car, but of course, cold tires are going to make a difference here. Right now, as it stands, we're still looking at. You and I were talking about how the track temps are really low right now. So the first lap will be a little bit skittish, but it should get heat in the tires quickly.
Yeah, Sam was saying 69 degrees on the track, 74 or 69 in the air,
Right.
74 on the track. So it is rather cool. Riding on board with Greg Evans. Reaper double 3 and 4 are going to be danger tonight for sure. But it depends on what you call 3 and 4. Is it old 3 and 4 or new 3 and 4? Jacob Cannon goes to the top of the board.
Right. Turn 2 will be the big sweeper at the long end, and then turn 3 will be the turn that we take to the start finish line. Turn 1 is actually the dog leg now.
It most certainly.
And tonight will be there is an option in iRacing where they leave the dog leg open, and what that means is that cars can utilize the inside portion of the asphalt that's below the dog leg. So below that yellow line, the cars are free to use that space. Whereas iRacing actually offers an opportunity to close that dog leg, and they'll put pylons up, and you have to stay outside of the yellow line. So it can make interesting starts. It can make interesting restarts. Opening up that bottom dog leg really can make for chaos going into turn 2.
It most certainly can. Of course, when you race open wheel cars here, they close that off, but stock cars do use it. Sam, we got a question here. The Danger Close Racing crew is in the chat, and we definitely appreciate them. Mike Rigney wants to know how much fun you're having in the broadcasting booth.
Well, it's been an experience. There's some less than stellar moments that I've been in the booth, and some other moments that have been quite fun. And so I'm still learning. Mark has been very gracious and kind and patient with me, and I feel like that we're getting a good feel for one another and how we can make the broadcast more entertaining for those that are watching. We're actually learning some from people like you, Mike, who have input and not afraid to give it. And so we're just trying to make sure that we're doing the best job for P1 Broadcasting and the AMA fans that we can do. So far it's been an incredibly fun experience for me, and I'm hoping that I can continue to hone my skills to be better at what I'm doing.
Couldn't have said it better than that myself, Sam. We are at about that time on the pole. Jacob Cannon, 134.668 miles an hour. Mark Cofield is going to be to his outside. Our good friend Greg Evans, he's gonna roll third. To his outside, Kendall Paul, he'll start fourth. Nolan Milnes fifth. Christian Light sixth. Jason Heady and John Hutchins going to round out row number 4. Dylan Godinez and Lee Campbell, they're going to be your top 10. In 11th, you'll have Trevor Benz. 12th, Corey Crandall. We watched his qualifying lap from the roof. Michael Moquin, 13th. He's won twice. Keith Ayers is going to start 14th. Brian Wasserman will roll 15th. Sean Merriman, Edwin James, 16th and 17th. Zachary Wake, Braden Langley, and Caleb Jones are going to round out your top 20. In 21st, Colby Pierce. He had that great run at Daytona. He'll go 21st. Joseph Klein, 22nd. Keith Graham, 23rd. Will Moore, 24th. We're back into the 13th row to find Jacob Smith and Mark Owlett. Brian Sharp and Michael Kirk are going to go 27th and 28th. Ryan O'Donohue must have had a problem in qualifying, Sam. He was fastest in practice, 29th starting spot for Ryan.
Interesting.
It is
interesting.
Very much so. Getting on toward the rear of the field now.
And our pole sitter, Jacob Cannon, was not able to make the event last week. If I'm not mistaken, didn't he have a death in the family?
Something like that, I do believe. Yeah.
Right, I believe. Yeah.
I do believe. Getting on toward the back of the field, Adam O'Brien, Ted Craven, Jonathan Wiley, Justin Osterman, Jeffrey Height, Eric Corder, Ryan Floyd, and Donald Green. None of those cars took time in qualifying. 37 Xfinity machines have signed in today. Jacob Cannon is going to credit Monster or Rogue Energy Drink for his pole position today. Great qualifying effort for Jacob. Pace car is getting ready to roll on off, and one of my favorite shots is about to happen. Well, maybe not. Sam.
Is the blimp not working?
There it is. I was trying to get on the back of the pace car and we couldn't do it.
Oh no! And it's blocked by the spoiler.
It's blocked by the spoiler. So we'll call the quick audible. We'll call the quick audible. But the green flag is getting ready to come out. Sam.
I love that fender shot. I love that fender shot right there. I do that door shot. I like that.
I do too, indeed. It is a long.
Pace car's off.
Yeah, it's a long entry though. The pit road starts here almost at the entrance to turn 3, and then you got to wait a good long while. But Barney's got the green flag in hand.
Eternity. It's eternity, Mark.
It is. Away we go, though. Jacob Cannon leads them off. We're under green here at Phoenix for the AMA Blackmagic Studios Cactus 200.
Now again, it's going to be interesting to see who wants to really push the limit of these tires in this run until they get to the first stage. Because you'll have some that'll push it and they'll try to get. Oh wow! Holy
I was going to say, I'll tell you who is
Mark
pushing
Goldfield it. Just about lost it in the front.
I was going to say, I tell you who is pushing it. That's Mark Goldfield.
Right across the nose of Greg Evans.
He had that baby sideways going through turn number 1.
I know he was waving at Greg Evans as he was going by.
He most certainly was. So Jacob Cannon gets the break off the flag. Mark Goldfield going to be second.
Now,
go ahead.
One thing that I have noticed, in the AMA, the drivers here have seemed to have a better mindset as the caution comes out. As I'm getting ready to say this, but they have had a better mindset of understanding that there is a competition caution. They don't have to really push too hard in order to get to the front, because the field will be bumped back up again at these competition cautions. It would just seem like it would be smart to save your equipment for later in the race.
Yeah, it most certainly would. And we've seen, we know there are going to be guys. We're looking for the cause of that caution. Nothing popped up.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, nothing popped up on my radar. I was thinking maybe it was Joseph Klein or Trevor Benz, because they were both kind of in the back there. But I don't really see what happened. There was nobody that fell way down the order. So if we figure it out, we'll bring it to you, fans. But it could have been somebody just slow or spun it, stopped on the racetrack. Joseph Klein has been to pit road, but I believe he might have started on the pit lane. Ted Craven has brought the teddy bear, the admin box number 30, into the pit lane. See, maybe Ted had something to do with that. No. Not on Ted. He comes in, and it looks like Ted's just going to take some gas. Trevor Benz is on the pit lane. He's in his box, but I don't see any visible damage on that machine. So if we figure out what caused that caution, we will absolutely bring it to you. Meanwhile, Jacob Cannon is your leader. Behind the Mustang pace car, Mark Goldfield is second, Greg Evans third, Kendall Paul fourth, Christian Light is fifth. You were talking with Greg earlier. What was he saying about the way the car drives, the setup, everything that you would expect a veteran like Greg Evans to say here?
Greg actually talked about how his first impressions of the car right now is that he was a little surprised at how tight the car was. But again, with the track temperature the way that it is, a lot of times leagues and races, as the track temp will continue to go up, it's at 87 degrees right now. But a lot of in these particular cars, it's not unusual to be in the Arizona desert and the track temperatures be up, 101, 107. And with that hot track temperature, the car becomes extremely loose. But Greg was saying that he found that it was a little bit tighter than for his liking, and that he did find a very snap-loose condition coming off turn 2 down the backstretch. And typically these cars, and Greg and I were alluding to the fact that when you're coming off turn 3 and coming to the start-finish line, if you don't hit your marks just right, then the tendency is to get into the gas too quickly, and it just draws the car. It pushes the front end. It just pushes the front tires, and it draws you to that wall to the outside. So you can get right side damage very easily here.
Green flag back in the air. Jacob Cannon. He's going to get the pedal on the right first. He'll jump out to a lead. Greg Evans, though, has gone into second over Mark Goldfield. That's got to be some experience there, Sam. Headed toward the front. Greg Evans, as Sam was talking about the weather, we qualified in very cool conditions here for Phoenix or what would be for Phoenix, but it's started to come up. 87 degrees on the track now.
Yes, sir.
And given the time of day, I would imagine it's going to get warmer yet still.
Yeah, I would think at this particular point of the day, it's 3 o'clock. You still have a couple of hours of heat. You could see the track temp go as high as 90.
The yellow flag is out.
Yellow is out again. That's Brian Sharp. He has managed to find the. Brian Sharp has managed to find a spin here, and so let's see what's happened with Brian. And we're going to do something that
Looks like he saved it enough to keep it off the wall.
It did. He's down underneath the 80. That's Mark Owlett. He's got Justin Osterman right next to him. Here goes Brian, and I'm going to do this only because I promised Brian Sharp that I was going to do it if he brought out a yellow. Here you see it. He's got 3 wide there. Not really the best place to be 3 wide. Adam O'Brien goes down. Osterman and Sharp come together, and poor Brian Sharp.
Watch out for that tree. George.
Oh, George of the Jungle.
Only because I promised him I would do it, but those two take a bit of a spin. It doesn't appear as though they hit anything really all that hard. Osterman's
53 just clearly came down.
It could be.
Osterman did.
Could be. And really
just looking at the replay, it looked like Sharp was really holding his line. There is an expectation here when you're coming across the start-finish line. If you're really not paying attention to the car inside of you, the expectation is that everybody's going to cut that dog leg off, and not everybody does. So you really have to be on your P's and Q's when you have a car on the inside of you to make sure that they, where they're at in relation to you on the track. Because the tendency is even if you're 3 wide or on the outside, the tendency is you think or anticipate that most drivers are going to cut that yellow line and go as low on the dog leg as they can. This could very well be one of those instances where Osterman thought that he could do that.
It's a good point that you bring up there, Sam, because I actually had that happen in an official race with several high-profile NASCAR drivers. There were a few Coke Series drivers in it. We were racing this car at Kansas, and I, being an open-wheel driver, we don't run the apron. We don't run the cuts that the stock cars do, and
the car can't with that bottom plate, can it?
You can, but you have to hit it.
It upsets the suspension too much.
Yeah, so you can do it in qualifying, but you have to be very careful about how you do it. The stock cars can hit those transitions very, very easily.
Yes.
And some fellow named Kerwin was going to put a lap on me, and I went down to the white line, and I thought I was doing him a favor, and he came down from the top of the track and just slammed into my door, and I went spinning, and Casey messaged me later.
Those are the two things about this particular track that make it so unique, is that the anticipation of whether a car below you is going to cut that corner, and then the other precarious place as you enter turn 2, whoever cut that corner, where are they going to come up and how far are they going to come up?
Yeah, and because
they can come back on the racetrack and just door you going into turn because they don't slow down enough for their momentum.
No, they don't, and that's
it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
It is. Jacob Cannon, he's got the challenge on the field. He's going to hop right back in the lead. Mark Cofield, he'll go to second over Greg Evans in third. Evans is in a heap of trouble. He's about to be 3 wide with Christian Light, Kendall Paul, all for second place. They think better of it. They get back in line. Christian Light is going to get past Kendall Paul for 4th. Paul will move back to 5th. And the front 5 get themselves sorted out, front 5 or 6. We've got caution on the speedway one more time. John Hutchins in the 72. Donald Green is going to be in the number 6. Let's see what we've got here. 72, he's going down into turn number, what is that, 1, I guess it is? And Donald Green, it just didn't get checked up in time. Around goes John Hutchins. Brian Sharp is going to barely miss that one, so he does not get the music. And then contact from the 6 to the 72 after the spin is completed. But again, nobody really hits anything hard. It's just they stop on the track. Now Hutchins is going to have the honor of coming in for a new rear bumper cover, but that's not really going to hurt anything here, Sam, is it?
No, there won't be a lot of impact as far as the handling of the car with the damage. Now, however, he did after the slide. Hutchins did take more of a hit in the left rear, and so just depending on how the damage is fixed on that left rear. Of course, these cars don't run a toe link like the Cup cars do, but it can give you wheel damage, and so there may be some optional damage that needs to be fixed from where you got hit in the door.
There may be. The other thing is the parade laps here, not the parade laps, but the caution laps, the pace laps. They are not long. So this isn't like Daytona or Talladega where you can sit there for a couple of minutes. Poor John Hutchins, he's going to have to be careful because he's fixing to be looking at going a lap down. There's the car as it sits on pit lane.
That's what I was afraid of, is the initial hit in the rear probably was not enough, but once he got hit in the left rear tire, that could cause enough damage that it needs to be repaired. And it's early enough in the race that you can go ahead and get that optional damage fixed and then maybe be the lucky dog candidate later on in the event, especially when you know that there's going to be some competition cautions. So it's just smart on Hutchins' part to go ahead and get the damage fixed while he's in the pit area. Just go ahead and get it taken care of.
You know, and he did just that. 53 seconds in the box for John Hutchins. He's going to go back out. There is only one other car one lap down. That's Keith Graham in the 09. And so, you know, why not for Hutchins? You know there's going to be a yellow in 35 laps anyway, if not before.
Yes, sir.
Why not come down, just get it fixed?
It's just a great call by the crew chief. It really is a good call, especially if the damage is not too extensive, and you know that you'll be able to race later. Just keep the car clean from here, and you'll be fine. It's just a good call by the crew chief to go ahead and get it fixed.
Yeah, no worries there for John. We've got the leader, Jacob Cannon. He's bleaking out just a little bit. Don't want to see a connection issue disrupt this race.
No, not up front, especially.
Green flag.
You do not. We'll talk a little bit about that new update here in just a moment.
Waited till the last minute. He waited till the green came out this time. Look at the cars fanning out. Good gracious, they are really going down to the bottom of the racetrack.
You know they are, and it makes that corner so wide.
Who was? Oh, that was Sean Merriman, almost down to the inside retaining wall.
We'll go back and get the camera on that. That is a wild scrap from about 8th back to 15th. All those cars side by side, in some cases 2 and 3 wide. There's Merriman in the Washington Commanders machine, and you see them. They go all the way down. It's not the going down there that's the problem. It's the getting back up, Sam.
Oh, no question.
The yellow flag
coming back
is
up
out.
into 2.
Yellow's out. And there you have it. The 38 of Ryan Floyd and the 09 of Keith Graham have come to grief, going down into turn 1.
I do want to say this, Mark. This is completely out of character for this league right now. What we're seeing here, there's not been a lot of cautions early in these events, and so this is very uncharacteristic for what's going on normally here at the AMAs. So hopefully the drivers will get into a mindset of settling down, and they'll get this thing going.
You know, I absolutely agree with that. What happened there? The 09 of Keith Graham, he went down, cut that dog leg. He came up, and it's just kind of like what we were alluding to earlier. Ryan Floyd was there, and he kind of misjudged coming back up, and unfortunately got in the side of 38. Heavy damage on both of those automobiles. They will bring them down to the pit lane, to the attention of their mechanics, and old John Hutchins, he gets right back on the lead lap there.
There you go. I don't like to talk much about my own racing and exploits, but at this particular track, I was telling you before the event, I was telling you how much I love to race this track. It's been feast or famine for me in many regards, but I did lose a cup championship at this particular racetrack by that very same instance where someone cut the dog leg, and then when they were coming back onto the track, they came back and they just could not control the push, and they just drove straight up the race. I even gave them 2 lanes on the bottom, and they still couldn't control the car and just came straight up the racetrack and took me out of the event.
Yeah, it's something that you have to be very cognizant of here. Greg, it's or not Greg, Sam. I don't know why I got Greg on my tongue there, but it's something you have to be very cognizant of. Is coming back up on the track. We always say in the open wheel stuff, you go to the apron, you don't have to be let back up, and that is the rule in iRacing.
This is true.
Yeah, that is the rule in iRacing. You can cut that if you want, but if you cut back up
But
there,
who wants to be the guy? Who wants to be the guy that doesn't give enough room and then pay for it?
I definitely don't want to be that.
I don't want to be the guy.
I don't want to be that guy. Jacob Cannon blinking again at the front of the field, and it's worth mentioning.
Sure
that,
is.
It's worth mentioning, Sam, that here next week they're going to put in an update where you better get that fixed, or they might toss you out.
Yeah, the iRacing is going to be passing and implementing that connectivity issues are going to be policed by the software itself. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with some of these people that are having connection issues where their latency and their quality is dropping out so much. So iRacing is trying to cut a lot of that out because there's been so many complaints about people that run official races. Is that when they're running official races and they run into people who have these connection problems, it direly affects their I rating and their safety rating, and they have no control over that when other people are having those connection issues.
That's quite right, Sam. We're going to come back to green, and we're going to watch it from a different angle. We're going to get up in the P1 airship. We're going to show this from the blimp just so that everybody can see Jacob Cannon get a massive hole shot off of Mark Cofield down to the bottom, and look at him fan out.
More wide back there.
Yeah, they most certainly are. They're 3 wide going through turn number 1 and 2. That's Merriman on the bottom. He's got Caleb Jones.
Oker with a big run on the outside. Oh, he and Greg Evans door each other coming off of turn 3 or turn 2.
We'll go right back to the front. Greg Evans, he's got Christian Light to his outside, and not too far up in front of Greg Evans. That's the 97 of Mark Cofield. They all go down to the apron. Yellow is out.
Wow.
And it's Brian. Wow. It's Brian Sharp for the second time this evening. Poor Brian Sharp. He's had an eventful day.
Watch out for that tree. George.
We're gonna see if we can't see what befell Brian Sharp here.
Wow.
There he is. It appears as though he got up in the wall a little bit going down the old front straight, but that shouldn't have affected anything. He's right up there.
Oh, well, he was completely sideways there at one point.
Yeah,
that in itself would constitute iRacing seeing the
caution. I see what happens. He gets into the back of the 77 of Eric Corder, and that kind of creates the old concertina. The 11 of Jacob Smith helps him around, getting into the corner. That's right where the car is off the right rear trying to turn. Gets into him, and around she goes. You can push the car around with your hand right there in that spot, Sam. Just kind of noses it, not so hard into the wall. Sharp will be able to get that fixed.
That oversteer correction is just brutal.
But Rigney nailed it. Sometimes, Mike Rigney in the chat, he kind of nailed it. Sometimes Phoenix does take a few laps to get the yellows down, and they'll settle down soon, folks. We are working lap 23 of 200, working our, what is this, the third caution, Sam?
I think this is fourth, actually.
Fourth caution. The leader of the event, Jacob Cannon, and there he is in the number 20. He's followed by Mark Cofield and Greg Evans. It seems to me, and Kendi wanted to apologize, the driver he hit. He feels terrible. It happens. Don't feel bad about it. There's always next week. But we've seen the guy in P3 seems to have the advantage on these restarts, Sam.
Usually, that's usually how it works. Is the inside line usually has a better advantage, but wherever the leader is starting, if you're behind the leader, you don't necessarily have to watch for the green flag as much as you have to watch for his rear spoiler. So the second that his spoiler moves, then you move. And so it does give you a little bit of advantage just when you are behind the leader. The outside car, the second position car does not quite have that advantage. It is just a split second of difference between the advantage that the person in third has to the person on the outside, just simply because they either have to back off enough to see the right front quarter of the leader's car, or it's a constant look left, look left, look left, and that does cause a little bit of a distance. Whereas the person that's behind behind the leader will just be able to go immediately whenever he sees the front spoiler move.
Yeah, and I've got the in car on Mark Cofield, and we're gonna watch the restart from on board and kind of show you what he's looking at. There are several rules in iRacing that don't make this any easier. For example, you have to maintain pace car speed up there. You cannot be ahead of the leader. You cannot go before the leader. So you're almost beholden to watching him go, and that's what you see if you look on the left side of your screen.
He purposely is keeping the leader to his left out the A post so that he can see when he launches.
Green
And
flag,
that's on
flag.
purpose so that he doesn't have to keep pivoting his head to look over there to see where he's at. So he backs off enough to see him through the A post and see when he launches. And it's still a split second from where the person behind the leader sees the leader launch immediately.
There you go. We're going to kind of watch the back of the pack.
He loses that half a car length on the start.
Now, Cofield did maintain the lead. Cofield did maintain the lead on that initial, or on that restart. But Greg Evans got right to his inside. Evans backs out of that.
And now here comes Christian Light on the outside.
Yeah, Greg Evans got a boatload of trouble. He's going to be 3 wide. He's got the 0-8 of Dylan Godinez down there too. Greg Evans
3 wide going into 2.
Greg Evans kept it 3 wide in the middle.
Wow.
A little bit of contact from Godinez, and everybody gets away with it, and they go on
Great
through.
driving. Great driving by those guys.
Absolutely, Sam. Greg Evans, he is gonna fall back to the 5th position. Discretion, the better part of valor there would be my guess. Evans,
Another 3 wide battle behind that.
it is indeed. Look at the drivers cutting down. They're cutting down to that. They're cutting down to that dog leg down there, trying to gain any advantage they can. Watching Sean Merriman, he's working to the inside of Caleb Jones. This is 9th and 10th.
Man, they're fanned out. These starts and restarts can be so chaotic. And that's why you're seeing things like breaking points, going into turn 3 being affected so randomly, because certain drivers will be going back or entering turn 3 and just not gauging some of the drivers ahead of them who break early. Some drivers will break early. Some will just let off the throttle earlier. And if you're not prepared for that, that's why we're seeing some of the cautions on entry into 3.
Caution, yellow
You're
flag.
right. We got another one of those. It is going to be the 53 of Justin Osterman one more time. Here's Osterman. He's to the inside of the 15 of Zachary Wake. He's got teammate Adam O'Brien in front of him. O'Brien has been on quite a charge. He's made up half the positions from where he started. Ben Summerford said it's turning into the 6 hours of Phoenix. Eventually, it does get better, we promise you. But it appears as though Wake got a little bit into the fence. Osterman squeezed up into him. There's the nose and there's the contact. Colby Pierce ducks to the inside. Wake is going to save the number 15. No saving it for Osterman, though. Around he goes. And a heck of a good job by everybody behind the
There really was just nowhere left for him to go. He was pinched up so far to the wall, there was just nowhere for him to go.
No, there wasn't. So Justin Osterman goes for a lazy spin. Again, doesn't really hit anything, and that's been kind of the theme with these cautions, hasn't it, Sam? Nobody's really hit anything all that hard.
Yeah, the carnage has been minimal. It's just the institution of bringing out a caution among all these incidents.
You know, it most certainly is. Now, here's a question for you. With 10 laps to go, with just a few laps to go in the stage, we are going to have a stage break here at 45. Is this one of those things, if you're somebody like, say Adam O'Brien, you started in the back, maybe Ryan O'Donohue, you started in the back, is this one of those situations where you might bring it down pit road, slap on the fresh tires, and not come in, just kind of ride around for 10 laps, not really put any heat in the tires, and then...
I don't know that they've had more than a 3-lap hot lap run. So the tire wear is not going to be too much on some of these leaders. They may even be tempted. You can go 70 laps, somewhere between 68, 70, maybe even 72 laps on a tank of fuel. and considering that we've already been 32 laps and they've never run more than 3 laps under green conditions, there may be a temptation. It could be. It just depends on the drivers. There could be a temptation to try and balance out what they want to do between the stage breaks and figure out what they want to do in that regard.
I'll tell you
especially considering saving tires. If it gets down and we have more cautions by the end of this event, and you have saved one set of tires, and everyone else has used their tires, you could actually come out looking like a champ.
You could. And speaking of that, we did have some takers under that yellow. Some of these guys are listening to the broadcast. Sean Merriman, Brian Wasserman, Trevor Benz, Joseph Klein, Edwin James. They all brought their cars to pit road under that caution. Green flag is out, and we need to get back up to the front to see what's happening up here. Everybody down to that dog leg. 44 is around. Lee Campbell, caution back out on the speedway.
Oh my heavens.
Boy, Sam,
that did not take long.
No,
that did not take long at all.
We saw that. We kind of saw that coming. Guys getting argy-bargy, trying to get to that, trying to get to those stage points. We got the 35. That is, let's see. I think we've got a misnumbered car out there. So no, that's the 35 of Corey Crandall. And we're just going to start getting argy-bargy here on the restart. 44 of Lee Campbell. He goes. He's got Adam O'Brien right behind him. And
yeah, it's just, again, it's just one of those situations where the people the driver on the outside could very well think that though someone's on the inside of him, he may not know exactly how close he is on the inside, especially in the dog leg. I always err to the side of caution. Whatever my line is on entry, if someone's on the inside of me, I hold that line. I try not to cut anything off. If I hear my spotter telling me car inside, I try to hold the exact line all the way through the corner unless I know for a shadow of a doubt that car is well below that yellow line.
That's a great point, Sam. And, you're thinking about it, that's one of those two where the spotter may have very well called clear. The spotter may have very well called clear for Corey Crandall.
But the closing speed on the corner could have brought him right back in.
Yeah, and so you can't really see that out of your rearview mirror either. The mirrors on these cars, you can't really see much, and of course the spoilers are so darn tall. We'll go back here and look at Dylan Godinez, for example. That's about not even that. That's about what you see. And if you look up there, that black space, I don't have it turned on, but that's the rearview mirror. You don't really see a whole lot out of that thing, do you, Sam?
No, you don't. You really don't. Actually, that mirror is toggled. You can toggle that mirror within iRacing.
We could, but I'm not.
You're talking about the.
Yeah,
right.
You're talking about that
the
one.
rearview mirror.
You're talking about that one. Now you can turn that on and off. There's a virtual mirror too that gives you a little bit more visibility.
Yes. Yes.
And
some people will use that simply because, or they'll turn that off because it's a distraction and use their side mirrors.
That too. If we go back on board Dylan Godinez, we'll get back in the cockpit. You can see it kind of if I turn off the scoring pylon. There it is. The black rectangle to his left on the A post. That is a mirror as well, and so guys will turn that on.
Correct.
They do have it better than the open wheel guys. I can vouch. You can't see anything out of those mirrors. Meanwhile, here comes the start one more time.
Everything looks like a P in the open wheel cars. Everything looks like just an ant.
It does.
We're back under green, Mark.
And there's 3 wide. Kendall Paul shoots it down to the inside. He's going to make it 3 wide, but there's Kendall. That's the veteran move. He slams on the brakes to avoid the 96 of Christian Light. And I don't want to jinx it. Everybody hears me knocking on the wood floor. We're going to get 1 lap under green. Here they come back to the start-finish line. Jacob Cannon is your leader. Mark Cofield second. Christian Light third. Kendall Paul is in a battle with Dylan Godinez, and there they go again.
Staying out. I was was doing just a little bit of math here, talking about the pit stops and drivers like Sean Merriman. You know, if they pitted on lap 32, they could actually go in. If there's not enough wear on the tires, they can make it through the second stage.
Yeah, they can. They absolutely
So
can.
all the leaders, if they wanted to go in to fuel up, then drivers like Sean Merriman would actually be gaining track position.
You know, they would. Now, they're not going to get stage points, but they should theoretically.
No, but sometimes you have to make sacrifices in some areas to gain in others.
You know, 100%. This is where the Hornet's Nest is at the front. You've got Dylan Godinez racing Christian Light hard. You've got Greg Evans and Kendall Paul. They are the interested observers back there. And, man, that's like a funnel when they come off of that. When they come off of that dog leg, they're all fighting to get into that same lane so they can make it through turns 1 and 2, Sam.
And here's the thing: is a lot of drivers, they think that they may feel like that they have to get to the bottom in turn 2, but actually the middle is just as fast in turn 2 as the bottom is. And I've actually seen over the years that some drivers have actually mastered running the outside line. If you look into the corner, you'll see there's 2 themes, and those themes, like you're seeing here between Kendall Paul and Greg Evans, they're giving us an excellent example of how 2 drivers can utilize those 2 lanes and race each other and give each other plenty of room and still be competitive. As they go through the dog leg and they're coming up in here to 2, Greg Evans and Kendall Paul, you'll see Greg will actually take this low line near the first seam, and he's actually all the way down to the yellow line, but Kendall Paul, giving plenty of room, runs that second seam and gets a big run coming off of turn 2 down the backstretch. Yeah. So there are different lanes that the drivers can utilize, but it really matters about the comfort level to each driver.
You know, it most certainly does, and again, open wheel experience, riding on the A post for Kendall Paul, looking back at Greg Evans, trying to kind of show these different lines. Paul goes down to the bottom. Greg Evans, he's going to run that middle.
There's a big checkup by Christian Light there, coming off of 2.
There it is. You see Christian Light. He has fallen back into the clutches of Kendall Paul and Greg Evans. But I can vouch for the top line being effective here. You come here with wings and ground effects. You can make that top line work really, really well.
Oh, yeah, no question you can. But you also take the risk in how your throttle control is by utilizing that outside line. In these particular cars, you would be quick to use up that right rear. And once the right rear starts to go, then you will see a considerable loss of speed. So it's very tricky how you do that.
You know, it is. We still got Mike Rigney out there from the ISRA series. There's a driver in his league that loves to wear in that right rear. Lionel Callisto. We've seen old Lionel. We've seen Lionel be half sideways going around through here in some of those cars. So if you ever want to check that out, Monday nights in the ISRA series here, 9:30 Eastern, on the P1 Broadcasting Network, you can catch guys like Lionel Callisto drifting these cars on long runs around this racetrack. Caution is on the speedway.
I believe this will be our mandatory stage caution. Kendall Paul has thrown the caution out.
It will. So 45, now 46 laps are complete. Jacob Cannon is going to be your stage winner. Dylan Godinez comes home second. Mark Hofield third. Christian Light fourth. Kendall Paul round out your top 5. Greg Evans, Jason Heaney, Nolan Millis, Adam O'Brien. Give a call down to Adam O'Brien. This guy started 30th. He makes it to 9th. So he's got to be the hard charger in all of this. Jeffrey Hyatt.
Well, look 2 positions behind him.
Yeah, Ryan Donahue. That's another one. Ryan Donahue.
the fast car in practice.
Yeah, Ryan Donahue. He started 1 position in front of Adam O'Brien. He's 2 positions behind. The number 14, Ryan Donahue, has come right up through the field. We are under caution for the first stage break, lap 47 at 200. We'll get most of these guys down pit road, and I'm going to be interested to see exactly where Sean Merriman, and here's Merriman. He's in the Washington Commanders car. Sean Merriman and about 3 or 4 others, they stopped 16 laps ago under the last yellow. We did make it 12 laps under green flag before the stage break, and so the question is going to be, where does Merriman come out in all this? Well, everybody's going to pit road, so we're going to watch Merriman cycle up to the front.
There you go. There you go.
We're going to watch
as many caution laps as we've run. He could have very well changed tires and got his first set, and really just got some scuff into them on this last run, and had enough fuel that he'll be able to finish this second stint and get all of that track position.
Yeah, so the question is going to be, where does he come out, and how does he come out? Watching the race off of pit road, that's going to be won by Jason.
Right now he's up to 10th.
Well, this should all cycle through, and
it should. You're right. You're exactly right.
Yeah, that group is going to be led by Sean Merriman. We do have a couple other cars out there as we watch the guys stream off of pit road, and then we'll come back and we'll get Merriman, because he should theoretically be your leader. Theoretically. There's Sean Merriman. Now he's got the 7 of Joseph Klein in front of him. Mm-hmm. And is that Braden Langley in front of him? Langley has not stopped. Klein is on the same strategy as Merriman. So the leader of the strategy is actually going to be Joseph Klein. You did have some cars that did not stop that are in front of them. And so I believe we're going to have some wave arounds, some lappers. The timing and scoring has not yet updated. Meanwhile, the pace car is off, and we're about ready to have a restart here.
Well, right, but right now it's showing Jason Heaney as the leader. Nolan Milnes is in second position, and they're staying out on the racetrack. So these cars could have very well pitted early as well.
Let's check it out. We'll use the fancy toys that Gary Godso has given us as we get back to green.
Back to green flag.
Back to green flag.
Well, this is going to be interesting because you've got these fast cars that have fresh tires, and you got drivers like Jacob Cannon, who does not like to ride in traffic, and he wants to get up front.
Front 4 breakaway. So you see the story there. Heaney, O'Donohue, Milnes, Crandall, and Wake, as well as Lee Campbell, have not stopped.
Wow, a lot of 3 wide as we go into turn 3. Whew, this is getting interesting here. Greg Evans on the bottom as Jacob Cannon is pulling out on the outside. There's still 3 wide as they cut the dog leg. This is interesting to watch these drivers come flying up through the field.
Ooh,
Edwin James gets into the right rear corner of Evans. There's a big log jam as they come off too.
They were 4 wide there momentarily. We did bring those pictures to you live thanks to Whiplash SimCams. Want to thank them for their support of the P1 Broadcasting Network, as well as Blackmagic Studios. We are in the Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series for the American Motorsport Association. Do want to thank all of our viewers. Have a great audience on hand tonight. Very active in chat. We do appreciate that too. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and smash the like button on the video. And YouTube analytics tell us that about half of you out there are not subscribed to P1. And so if you go ahead and ring that bell, it is free, folks. You'll be alerted to all of our exciting iRacing content. Watching the Hornet's Nest, this is Sean Merriman in 9th, Greg Evans 10th, Jeffrey Hyde 11th. I love
how these guys have really settled in right here. Hopefully we'll get to see some green. Oh, and Greg Evans gets into the back of Merriman.
They all save it.
Does a masterful job of saving that car. Unbelievable save going into that corner.
They did, and that opened the door for Jacob Cannon. Cannon had that car down on the apron in turns 1 and 2. I love the blimp.
That is something I've never been able to master at this racetrack, is to run that counter. Wow, door right there again. This is such a hot spot on the racetrack right now as Ryan O'Donohue is taking the lead. And this is just a hot spot back here around the 10th position.
Yeah, we're going to continue to watch this. Ryan O'Donohue does lead it from Jason Heaney and Nolan Milnes. Now, those cars are going to have to come to pit road here. I would assume within the next 20 laps. There have been a lot of yellow, of course, but they're going to have to they're going to have to make a green flag stop at some point during this They're going to make it. Well, Sean Merriman up in the wall there, but they're going to have
The
to.
yellow flag is out.
Now,
Yellow,
Sean is racing on older tires.
yellow is out. And I'd be willing to bet. There's Jason Smith. And let's see how all this starts. Jason Smith, he's got the 57 of Brian Wasserman, 53 of Justin Osterman back there, Brian Sharp back there. And I think we're going to have another funnel moment here. There's the 11. He's got the 57 of Wasserman just to his outside, 54 of Michael Kirk.
Now, he could, like you said earlier, he could have very well had an all clear.
Yep.
But then everything changes so quickly when you cut the course that much. Well, then you have the 11, who really just may not know how close he is, and just by missing that judgment, they make contact going into turn 2. And look who's just missing another incident there is Osterman. I know he does not want to be involved in another incident tonight.
No, he doesn't. Now, do want to point out that Dylan Godinez and Adam O'Brien, as we get back to the front of the field, they stopped under the stage break. They've made it to 3rd and 4th. Greg Evans, Jeffrey Hyatt, they stopped. They are 6th and 7th. Ryan O'Donohue and Jason Heaney still have yet to stop. You see the 0 up there, and boy, they're playing some game of poker. They're playing some game of poker up there. The 14 and the 9, gambling that we're going to continue to see. We're going to continue to see more yellow lights, and that they can maintain the track position and save that set of tires.
Kudos to those drivers. Listen, I'm a firm believer that if you feel like you have the skill level and the tires under you, that you believe that you can maintain enough speed, then get that track position. It is so vitally important, especially when you have nights like tonight where the track seems to be winning on some of these incidences, and it brings out brings out a lot of cautions that you want to take advantage of this track position in order, even if your tires are older, Mark. You may lose some spots, but you may not lose enough by the next stage break that it would be catastrophic that you're still running 20th or 25th. So I'm a firm believer in getting the track position if you think that you can maintain it.
Well, the other thing is we've had so much yellow, they really haven't had time to get a ton of heat in the tires, or get a ton of heat in the tires and really hurt them.
Right.
We've got a connection issue for Dylan Godinez there on the inside. He's starting to flicker and flake. Mike Rigney's got a great point from the ISRA down there. And this is a great question because I'm not used to racing off of the racing surface. But does Sam the spotter call the inside car if they're off the racing surface?
Actually, that's a great point, Mike. They actually the spotter will call the car on the inside. It'd be no different than if there was a car coming out of pit lane. Sometimes when you're at certain tracks, if they're coming out of pits, it'll tell you a car on the inside as well. So
Green flag.
not all tracks will do that, but at this particular track, it will tell you that there's a car inside.
There you go. Ryan O'Donohue's going to lead them. We're going to show you about the top 15 from the P1 airship as they fan out. Adam O'Brien, he's going to the bottom of Jason Heaney. He's going to try to make it to 3rd. Here comes Greg Evans. He gets a huge run off the top. Greg Evans is going to go around the number 1 in Nolan Milnes. Go ahead and mark Greg Evans into 5th. And Nolan Milnes is going to fall back to 6th. And those tires have to be showing up now. I'd imagine it's much more rough for Nolan Milnes than it is for Ryan O'Donohue. O'Donohue with a clean air. Greg Evans going for 2nd. Milnes trying to dive back onto the inside of Jeffrey Hyatt. He's going to grab 6 back momentarily going into turn 1. Not to be, though, and here comes Jacob Cannon. He's going to ride up on the back of those 2.
Now, just for the viewers, just in case that they're watching some of the racing that's going on here, Jeffrey Hyatt is actually in the broadcast.
Caution. We've got a caution. Braden Langley, among others, are in the turn 2 wall. It appears as though Brian Sharp also involved. So let's see what's happened here. That all started with a 72 at John Hutchins. Ooh, hard impact. So let's see what happens here, because this all started well in front of the cars that we saw in the background. There's Hutchins. He's going to make it 3 wide on the bottom. He's going to come together with the 12.
Again, the dog leg coming into play here. Oh, and then the 12 sticks it right in the middle there and comes down on top of Hutchins.
Yep. Now
And then
Hutchins.
the 54 catches Hutchins in the rear. The 12 tried to stick it into that middle lane, and he just really took a little too much and came down on top of the 72. And that sent the 72 sliding. And, of course, the 54 trying to get through as Hutchins comes back up the racetrack right in front of the 54 and not having enough time to react. He gets into the back of him.
Yeah, we're gonna go right on board with Brian Sharp because he had a great view of this whole thing. Unfortunate for Brian Sharp, this would be the third incident that Brian's been involved in. But you see the 72 of Hutchins. He's spinning down on the inside to the apron. He gets it saved. He's going to be collected here by the 54 coming back up onto the racing surface. He has it saved. I got it saved. I got it saved. I don't got it saved anymore. Hard impact. And then
It's how quick that things can change, yes.
Poor Brian Sharp. Poor Brian Sharp gets the tail end of it. And, of course, Brian, you need to watch out for those trees. Brian Sharp.
Wow, the impact on that 72.
Yeah,
The car completely gets airborne.
it does indeed. And then, of course, Braden Langley also involved. We're gonna go back and see kind of what you see from Braden Langley's perspective on top of the Mobile
I'm a
One
little
machine.
more concerned about Braden's particular damage in this case than I am Brian Sharp. Brian Sharp seemed to get the car slowed down enough that the damage could be repairable. But Braden, on the other hand, looks like he really took a lot of front end damage. It could be motor damage on his particular part.
It could be. That was a hard hit for Braden Langley.
It sure was.
Right in the door of John Hutchins. You never want to see that. And there's Braden Langley. He's already on pit road, as is Hutchins, as is Sharp. Multiple minutes of repair.
We might have to check Michael Kirk into the infield care center. He absolutely clobbered the back of Hutchins' car. Contact there was catastrophic, I would almost believe.
Yeah, that was a hard lick.
It was.
And I don't
Green flag.
have the replay. Meanwhile, we're back under green. Let's get back on the P1 airship because they're going to go fanning out 4 wide again, Sam.
This is going to be
interesting. Kendall Paul, the inside of Cannon.
Cannon has decided that he is going to get to the front one way or another.
Well, he
and Coker, these cars that were up front early in the race, Christian Light, Coker, Cannon, or Cofield, I'm sorry, these guys are wanting to get back where they were. They want this track position. They want to be back up at the front, and they're going to try and fight the cars up here to do so.
And you can't really blame him.
Jeffrey Hyatt got a great restart.
Yes, he did. Jeffrey Hyatt has moved to 4th in the 33 machine. We're watching Jacob Cannon as he works on Mark Cofield.
We've got another caution as they're wrecking going into turn 3.
Zachary Wade, is going to be one of the cars involved. He gets turned sideways by the number 12 machine. Of course, we don't have a 12 that's listed, so we're going to try to read the number. That's all going to start the 7.
Yeah, Caleb Jones is the 12 car.
Okay, so Caleb Jones. This all starts with the car numbered 7 there. That's the Justin Allgaier machine. He's going to put it 3 wide. They're going to get down the front straight. You've got one car blinking in front, so that's never a good sign. They're all going to kind of come together, trying to make it into turns 3 and 4. There's the squeeze, 15 turns sideways in front of Caleb Jones in the 12, car number 12. And around we all go. Zachary Wake hard into the outside wall. That's a pretty good lick, and we're starting to see some attrition happen. We've now got 29 cars.
Just running out of real estate there.
Yeah, most certainly are.
The car on the outside is just subject to the fact that they cannot go any further than the wall. The wall will not allow them to go any further than they are.
The wall does not move.
Zachary Wake just slowly begin to drift up toward Caleb Jones, and Joseph Klein being there on the inside. Joseph Klein actually got the all clear, and then he began to move up. And if you watch carefully, you'll see. Yeah, you'll see Zachary Waite just begin to slowly drift a little to the right, and of course, Caleb Jones is out there, and he has nowhere else to go. The wall's there. There's just nowhere else to go.
No, there isn't, and tough break for those cars. We'll watch it one more time. We watched it on the roof of Zachary Wake, and here it is again. Jones just comes up.
But this is just hard racing. I do want to point out, this is just hard racing. These are guys that are mired up back in the midfield, and they're just wanting to work their way up.
No, that's a great point, Sam. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just the nature of the track and what they're doing. Ryan O'Donoghue is still leading it. Ryan O'Donoghue has still not come to pit road. Corey Crandall tried that same strategy. He wasn't able to make it work. He's fallen to 11th. Ryan O'Donoghue, though, he's your leader. He's got a very fast Adam O'Brien to his outside. We're going to come down the front straight. We're going to get back aboard the P1 airship, and we're going to call it to green here. You've got Ryan O'Donoghue, your leader, Adam O'Brien to the outside, Godinez and Hyatt row 2, Greg Evans and Jacob Cannon, they're going to be in row 3. Here they come through what used to be the dog leg. Now it's turns 3 and 4.
Green, green, green.
And there's the green flag. Racing resumes here at Phoenix.
And when is our next stage break?
Next stage break, I believe, is at
lap 90.
Yeah, next stage break is at lap number 90. You called it. Watching the battle for the lead, or watching the battle for second, rather.
We see Will Moore get a little bit into the wall coming off of turn 2. As the car tightens up during the race, and it will tighten up in turns 2, or in turn 2, you will have the propensity to drift the car out toward the wall, just like you do in turn 3. And again, drivers are they're having a very hard time tonight, Mark, judging their distance, braking behind the cars in front of them. The braking marks are different for different drivers, and so if you're watching these cars carefully in the pack, there's a lot of jamming on the brakes and a lot of play in the steering wheel, just simply because drivers are still trying to get accustomed to where the braking points are of the drivers that are in front of them.
You know, they are talking about two or three guys that have got that figured out. Let's talk about Dylan Godinez in second, Adam O'Brien third, Greg Evans fourth.
Joseph Klein absolutely punts. Colby Pierce. He lit him up going into turn 3.
Yeah, Joseph Klein, he was involved in that accident just a few moments ago. Colby Pierce saves the automobile. That No Pass Media Black Magic machine continues to soldier on. Colby is running in the 12th position. He's got Jason Heaney behind him. Heaney has stopped, so he has affected new tires on that car. He is now 13th. Keith, it's also worth mentioning Keith Ayers, Edwin James, and Trevor Benz also visited pit road under that last caution.
Kendall Paul and Cofield get door to door coming out of turn 3 and washes Cofield up the track a little bit, and that opens the door for Cannon and Christian Light as now Christian Light makes a little contact with Cofield.
Yeah, we'll have to get back on the airship. I don't know if I want my camera that close to this battle. James Hodgson, he's cheering.
Sheet metal fun.
He's cheering on the guys from the Dominican tonight. Good to have you. Good to have you watching the race. Watching the race from vacation. We did that. We did that on ours. We were in the middle of the Caribbean Celebrity Apex. We had the Monday night shows on the big screen in the casino. That was a good time. Everybody on the boat appreciated the live action on the P1 Broadcasting Network. Watching Kendall Paul, he's got Jeffrey Hyatt in front of him, Jacob Cannon right behind. O'Donoghue, Godinez, O'Brien, and Evans have broken away from this group. So the top 3 fairly safe, and you see them, top 4 fairly safe, rather, and you see them there at the bottom of your screen very briefly.
Think, if I'm not mistaken, Evans is on the newest tires of all these cars up front.
So O'Donoghue still has not stopped. We'll go ahead and bring it up. O'Donoghue has not stopped. Dylan Godinez, Greg Evans, Adam O'Brien, Kendall Paul, Jeffrey Hyatt, Jacob Cannon, Christian Light, Mark Cofield, they're all on the same strategy. If you get back to 10th, you get to Joseph Klein. He stopped 3 cautions ago. Jason Heaney in 12th now he's 11th, but Jason Heaney is on newer tires than that. He stopped under the last caution. So
wow. Adam O'Brien drove it deep in there.
Yes, he did, and he's going to pay the price coming off the corner because Greg Evans is going to get right to him. But O'Brien, he's all over the back of Dylan Godin as he's hunting second.
It's heating up front there. What a masterful job O'Donohue is doing on these older tires.
You know, and you gotta think we got yellow on the track. Ted Craven, the number 30 admin box teddy bear, has gone for a spin. So caution on the speedway. Also involved the 98 of Keith Ayers, and Ayers was on some of those newer tires. Let's have a look and see what's going on here between Ayers and Ted Craven.
Keith Ayers is handing out apologies here. Apparently, he feels that a lot of that particular incident was his responsibility, and he's doling out some apologies here.
You know,
in the in-race chat.
I don't know that he's as at fault as he thinks he is. Ted Craven was down on that apron. He got kind of loose, checked it up. He checked it up down there, and unfortunately for Keith Ayers,
he just never went back up the racetrack.
Yeah, he never went back up the racetrack because he was busy catching the race car. And then hard contact from the 3 and the 6, and there's just a hard lick for the 3 and the 30.
Hood flying up, yeah. Ted Craven's car, oh wow, just nowhere to go. He's blocking the entire track.
Yeah, and there you see the tail of the tape there for Ted Craven. I don't believe the teddy bear is going any further tonight. It's sitting on pit road with smoke pouring out of it. So tough break for Ted Craven. When he gets back, he's going to discover that the engine has expired in the number 30 Ford Mustang. It's worth mentioning. That we have had several retirements. We are down to.
We have.
Yeah, we're down to 26 cars on the racetrack. Brian Sharp continues to soldier around. He's going to pick up one more spot. Here eventually, but he is 11 laps in arrears. Craven will not make it back out with the damage to his machine. Trevor Benz, Donald Green, Colby Pierce, they are 1 lap down. Pierce had some damage as the 42 sits on pit lane, so he's going to try to get that fixed.
That Pierce damage could very well be from Joseph Klein getting into the back of him when they went into turn 3. I don't know how Colby Pierce saved it. Honestly, he was hit so hard.
That's a great point, but you mentioned it earlier. There's going to be a caution in 10 laps. There's only one other car that is a lap down, and that's Donald Green, and Green is on the pit lane as well under repair. Come get it, right? You're going to be back on the lead lap, and you're going to be back on the lead lap in 10 laps anyway. We'll reset the field for you here. Your leader is Ryan O'Donohue. He has not stopped. Non-stop, Ryan O'Donohue leads it. Dylan Godin is the second. Adam O'Brien third. Greg Evans fourth. Kendall Paul fifth. Jacob Cannon, your early leader, is sixth. Christian Light is seventh. Jeffrey Hyde eighth. Joseph Klein ninth. Mark Hofield will round out your top 10. We're going to get back on the airship because we're getting ready to go back to green. We're going to hide the leaderboard as we always do for the restart so you can get the full effect of
green flag.
However many lanes there are down there in that dog leg funneling into about 1.5. Headed for turn 1, and there they go. Fanning out one more time. Kendall Paul all the way to the bottom.
It certainly has tightened. The top 4 cars had opened up just a small, advantage there before the caution came out, and so now it bunches all these fast cars back up again, like Jacob Cannon and Christian Light and Kendall Paul. They're in touch with these top 4 cars again, so it's going to get interesting here before the next stage break.
It absolutely will. Look who is Greg Evans. Big send on Adam O'Brien.
He really stuck it in there.
He did. Now Adam O'Brien's going to cross him back up, get to the inside, going down the backstretch. Adam O'Brien's going to have the preferred line going into turns 3 and 4. Let's see if Evans can fight back on the outside. Sometimes you can do that down there.
Right. The trick to that outside line coming off of turn 3 is being able to get the momentum at the apex and hold that line and not hit the wall coming off.
You got it. Greg Evans
And
is.
Greg is trying to utilize that outside line all that he can. It keeps that inside car from utilizing its momentum coming off the corner. But
Yeah.
O'Brien he's doing a great job of holding that yellow line.
You know, he can't when you've got somebody pinched down like that. He can't have his head coming off the corner. He's not able to unwind the steering wheel. You really keep him pinched down over there. You lose all of his momentum. The other thing you do is wear the heck out of his right front tire. That is extremely hard on the tires. And so Adam O'Brien, he's only got 6 laps left for the stage break. But
looks like
Sam,
he's going to succeed that spot to Greg Evans.
Yeah, he's going to let him have it. Adam O'Brien, discretion, the better part of valor. We're going to get back on the airship one more time. All of the cars at the very front, they're all way down toward that bottom as we work back toward turns 1 and 2. These laps at Phoenix, once they get them going, they can get going. They can go pretty quick.
Oh, Greg Evans into the wall coming off of turn 2. That opens the door for O'Brien and Kendall Paul as they come down on the inside of him in turn 3.
He doesn't seem to have lost all that much. He did lose the position.
All that battling on the outside could have very well built some heat up into those tires. And in the meantime, our leader, Ryan O'Donohue, is showing that he is the smartest man.
Whoa, we got Dylan Godinez in the wall.
The first half of this race.
You got Dylan Godinez kind of tapped the wall over there going through turn number 2. That temporarily put Evans, Paul, and Jacob Cannon 3 wide. We're still watching that battle, but you are 100% right. Ryan O'Donohue. We got caution on the speedway.
Another caution.
That's Jeffrey Hyatt. Is backwards on the backstretch. He's going to get the 33 numbered 0 spun back around. But let's see what we've got here for Jeffrey Hyatt. And this started brewing, and that's Justin Osterman there. But this started brewing way back at the beginning of turn number 1. So there you see it. Hyde on the outside, Osterman on the inside. You got Jason Heaney rather, in the number 9 behind him.
You have Hyatt, who is just trying to get the straightest line off of that corner that he can get, and then Osterman is clearly on the inside, and he has all this momentum that's going to push him out toward the wall, and they meet in the middle, of course, through that particular exchange, especially with Hyatt cutting the corner as much as he can. The car is not really washing out toward the wall for Hyatt. He's straightening that car out and staying in the middle of the racetrack. So Osterman, as he comes off, immediately pushes up toward Hyatt as he's taking a little bit more straighter line. He
does. We're going to get on the roof and watch it from Corey Crandall. There you see the momentum on the inside just carries into the car on the outside. Good hard racing here at Phoenix, but around goes Hyatt. And watch Corey Crandall's view of this. The 9 of Heaney is going to get through. The 18 of Sean Merriman is going to go by. And here's poor Corey Crandall. He's trying to get this thing slowed up. I'm going to hit him. I'm going to miss him. There he goes. I'm going to miss him. I didn't miss him. Tough break for Corey Crandall.
And that's where Hyatt really just trying to save the car from hitting the wall. And he just lightly contact, but still there's enough contact there to merit some damage.
Is indeed. I do want to thank all of our...
Colby Pierce to be our lucky dog candidate.
See, and that's why you get it fixed, folks. Colby Pierce going to be back on the leader lap. We are working lap 89 of 200. Has Kendall Paul announced that this is going to be the stage?
Yes. He's actually shortened some of the cautions here, but I have not heard an announcement about this being the official staging.
So normally speaking in the AMA, when you get to one of these cautions like this, they're going to...
Because we're coming up to lap 90 anyway.
Yeah, they would just call this the stage, extend the yellow for a couple of laps, but we're going to see if Kendall Paul will do so. Lights are still on. lights are still on a pace car, Sam.
Unless
so
Ryan O'Donoghue has enacted God mode on his tires, I would think that it would be time for him to come in.
Yeah, I would expect that we're going to see Ryan O'Donoghue here on pit road just as soon as it opens.
It's just a completely masterful job of what he's done to get up front and to hold that position the way that he had.
Yeah,
I mean, he was the fastest car in practice, and so he's showing that he still has speed, all things considered.
Yeah, pit road's still not open here for Ryan O'Donoghue. We are going to take.
Kendall Paul's now extended the caution by another lap.
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick break.
So this will be our break.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick broadcasting break here for just a moment. We'll be right back with you on the P1 Broadcasting Network. You're watching the Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series Cactus 200 under the second stage break caution. Ryan O'Donoghue is your leader. All right, back with you on the P1 Broadcasting Network. Dylan Godinez, Jacob Cannon, Mark Cofield, Kendall Paul, Greg Evans. They're Sam. They're looking like they're going to do what they've learned from the lesson that Ryan O'Donoghue just taught them. So
yeah, they're going to try and stay out. They know that there's going to have to be at least one more stop.
Now they've been out there.
They can get 30 laps out of this stop, or 40 laps, 35 or so laps, not counting how many cautions have given them the advantage of how many laps that they may still have on this tank. Then, if they pit around lap 130, then they can make it on fuel and tires.
Yeah, Godinez, Cannon, Cofield.
If you go by what you've seen with Ryan O'Donoghue.
Yeah, Godinez, Cannon, Cofield, they may prove to be yet the smartest gamblers in Phoenix. They're going to stay out here, and by my back-of-the-envelope math, Sam, I would venture a guess to say they can make it on one more stop. Now, if it stays green that whole time, their tires are going to be worn down to the cords when they get to the checkers, but they will have the advantage of having pitted first. The bad news is you're going to lose a couple of laps doing that, so you don't want to get trapped by the caution.
Especially under green, that's right.
Yeah, especially under green. So that's the risk that you take with doing this, is if you have to bring it to pit road and a caution flies before the cycle goes through, you've essentially ceded a lap. And there are all sorts of strategies. Jacob Smith might be the best positioned. Jacob Smith and Corey Crandall, they last stopped 14 laps ago. Nolan Milnes is kind of in the middle. He's got 31 laps on his tank. Eric Corder, like the leaders, 45 laps out. Edwin James, 26th. Everybody from Greg Evans on back has pitted here, and so they can pretty much play this however they would like. My eyes are going to be on Greg Evans, Kendall Paul, Ryan O'Donoghue to see how much they can charge back to this thing. It is also not surprising that O'Donoghue lost positions on that pit stop, Sam, just simply because he had to take more gas.
Did he top off?
Well, he would have been all the way down to down on fumes. I would have.
Oh no, from the first run. Oh no, I agree.
Yeah. So just more time on pit road because he had to have more fuel put in the car. The other drivers had previously stopped under the first stage break. So
These the top three cars have been front-running cars most of the night. Godinez, Cannon, Cofield, all of these drivers have proved that their cars they have plenty of speed, and now they're trying their particular pit strategy. Depending on how many laps they'll have left on the tank, that they would be able to get another 30 to 35, maybe 40 laps off this tank. In the current pace of cautions that we've been seeing, it's very plausible that they would be able to pull it off and save two sets of tires.
You got it, Sam. Here we come to the green flag. Big layback from Jacob Cannon. He is all the way one car length behind your leader, Dylan Godinez. Jacob Godinez leads it off. My goodness.
You can do it, Mark. You can do it.
Cofield goes to second. Cannon is going to drop back to third, and here comes Sean Merriman.
Right back where he was earlier.
We've got a hornet's nest behind them, though. That's the 77 of Quarter. You've got the 35 of Crandall. A whole mess of cars. Greg Evans is involved in there. Nolan Milnes.
Just ahead of that, Eric Porter, of course, on the inside, as Greg Evans thinks better of making it 3 wide. Of course, that slows his momentum down, and what he tried to prevent in front of him is now behind him.
He can't.
Oh, my heavens.
He lifted out of one mess and got himself right in the middle, smack dab in the middle of another. He's going to stick it to the bottom of the track. He's going to get by the 77.
Oh, the 77's in the wall. That checks up Ryan O'Donoghue, and then everyone behind them has to catch their cars.
Evan's going to drop to the bottom of the 35 numbered, drop to the bottom of the 35 at Crandall. Meanwhile, this is where the action is.
5 wide there in the dogleg. That was magnificent.
Yeah, this is where the action is, folks. It looks like the start of this race at Indianapolis, no less. 2, 3 wide going through turns 1 and 2 at Phoenix.
So many different strategies playing out here.
Got to give them credit, though. Everybody's managed to keep it moving in the right direction thus far. We'll bring it back up, and we're nearing halfway in this thing, Sam.
And eventually they're going to find their rhythm, and this field will find their rhythm in this thing. And if it gets spread out enough, we could very well go to the end under green conditions as I watch the 7 and the 53 door to door completely through turn 2.
Yeah, if this was real life, you'd see some tire marks on the sides of those cars because they were leaning on them hard.
There would be no letters on those Goodyears at all, none.
No, and they're finally going to get separated a little bit. Justin Osterman's going to get the spot. Meanwhile, we're going to go back up to the front because there's your battle for second. Jacob Cannon has gotten by Mark Cofield, so move him up a spot. But my goodness, the action is fierce back here. The 46 of Edwin James into the right rear of Adam O'Brien. Meanwhile, Kendall Paul, he's going to charge to the outside of Corey Crandall. Give Paul the spot.
Big run for Kendall out on the outside. Milnes is there, but he gives him the room. He gives him the room.
These are all cars, and you got a whole mix. You've got a whole mix of tires because you got a whole mix of tires. There's the tires.
Christian Light hard into the wall. Wow, I can't believe he saved that car. He hammered the outside wall coming off of 2, trying to get around Greg Evans.
Yeah, that's going to cost him. Here comes Kendall Paul. Paul is not going to take to the apron this time. He's going to take the big run on the outside. That's light on the inside.
The line that Kendall likes to take.
It is. There we go. There's Kendall Paul on the outside.
Christian Light's car is not hurt too much. He's back to maintain. He's back up to speed.
Now, is this one of those cars? If you hit it square, it's not gonna hurt it too awful bad, Sam?
Well, of course, in the sim, you won't get things like a tire rub or anything like that. If the contact is significant enough, you can get wheel damage, but you won't get like a fender on the tire or anything like that like you might see in real life. But you can, if you hit the rear first, it can give you wheel damage, or if you hit the rear or hit the front first. If you hit it square, then you can count that you're not going to have as much damage.
Very good. And Christian Light must not be feeling any damage because he's driven back to the inside.
He hit it really. He did hit it square, but he hit it a ton. Enough to slow his momentum down. And of course, now that's giving Kendall Paul, him trying to pass Evans on the inside.
The yellow flag is out.
Yellow light is out, and I see the car falling to the field. I'll give you three guesses. Sam, but I bet you'll only
Please
need
don't
one.
tell me Justin Osterman.
It is Justin Osterman, and he is hit hard one more time.
Oh, wow. They made contact. He and Corey Crandall make contact coming off of 2, and they just cannot get off of each other. They just absolutely cannot get off each other.
Yeah, let's see what we can see here from Justin Osterman. There he is. He's racing with Corey Crandall. You got the 39. That's Will Moore in front in the CMR machine. Man, look at... I'm watching for the accident, and I see Nolan Millens in a full four-wheel drift coming off of turn 2. But those two cars, they come off the corner, they get going down the straight, and they just can't get off of one another. You're right, Sam. Around goes Justin Osterman, and that is a hard hit for the driver of that 53 machine.
Yes, sir. Justin's had a tough night. Seems like he's had the car magnet on full force most of the night, it seems like tonight. Other cars keep finding him.
You know, you sometimes it's like that, but Osterman maintains his position on the lead lap.
Yep, he sure does. And now a lot of that damage is probably repairable.
Yep.
But again, this is just one of those instances where Crandall is clearly on the outside, and if you watch his left tires, you'll see that his left tires really actually stay on that seam. He's not coming down the track. He's holding the line. And Osterman, although he is got all that momentum that takes him out there, he was also on the seam, but they got close enough that they make contact, and then it's just sometimes it is so hard to get away from that contact.
It is. It's almost...
it's like glue. And for some reason, if you're the car that is slightly ahead, you'll be the one that'll suffer the most damage.
That's quite true. We're showing the number 2 of Greg Evans. He stopped under that last yellow, 40.2 seconds in the box for the driver of the Deuce. He doesn't lose all that much, though. There was some damage earlier. He had some contact with the outside retaining wall, and of course, this race has been a contact sport for most of these drivers.
Evans' stop was 40 seconds.
It was 40 seconds. So my guess is
there have been some incidences where several of the leaders have been catching the wall coming off of turn 2 and turn 3 at the start-finish line. So he could have very well been getting some damage in regards to brushing the wall off of exit.
You know, and that's quite true. It could also be one of those deals where he's looking at this thing saying, hey, if we get several more yellows, I might be able to win it just with this one stop. We're going to go back to green flag racing.
He could very well be thinking about track position.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how all of this is playing out because, Jacob Cannon and Cofield, these drivers, everyone will still have to make one more stop before this race is over.
You know, we got a car way down on the apron in the back. That was Colby Pierce. He drove all the way down onto the apron, Sam, through turns 1 and 2 and passed about 5 cars. Colby Pierce goes to 12th. He's looking for 11th. He is as low as we have seen anybody go down there. We've got trouble.
Look at Ryan Donahue.
We've got trouble.
Wow.
That's Jacob Smith, Caleb Jones. They are around. They're going to keep it going in the right direction. Hopefully this does not cause the caution. They are off the racing surface.
No caution yet.
Nope. Smith is going.
And Ryan Donahue has taken the lead with a huge move on the outside. Ryan Donahue's probably got the freshest tires of most of the cars out there.
He does. So he's on that strategy where they stopped 17 laps ago. So Ryan O'Donohue does have the freshies.
What are the possibilities that you could pull off a one-stop race in this event? Oh my.
Well, Kendall Paul's going to go to second. He's thinking about that same thing too. Jacob Cannon, I think the sell-by date on his Goodyear Eagles has passed because he is now dropping through the field. He's now dropping severely behind Ryan O'Donohue. He's lost 0.3 a second for the last 2 laps. Adam O'Brien is going to shovel it hard to the bottom on Christian Light. So there's another battle. O'Brien and Christian Light awfully close together they are coming off of coming off of turn number 2. There you see the 87, and I know we've got an Adam O'Brien fan or two here in the chat. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Do want to give the shout outs to the P1 Broadcasting Network if you have not done so already. And judging by YouTube analytics, about half of you haven't. Go ahead and ring the bell, subscribe to the channel, hit like on the video. All of those things do help us with the YouTube analytics. The higher up in that algorithm, the higher up in the algorithm you go, the more eyeballs get put on fantastic iRacing events like the Blackmagic Studios Cactus 200 here at Phoenix. We are under 90 to go, coming to get 89 laps remaining. We're watching Adam O'Brien as he battles hard for the 5th spot. He's going to get by Christian Light and go to work on Mark Cofield.
These three cars are really putting on a driver's clinic right here with Mark Cofield, Christian Light, Adam O'Brien. They are fighting hard for this position. And Christian Light masterfully just does not hit Cofield. Wow, what a great job of driving there. Heaney, in the meantime, is waiting in the wings for anything to open up a door or opportunity for him.
Yeah, well, as P1 founder Gary Godso is fond of saying, the cream rises to the top, and that's what you're seeing. Here goes. Whoa, we got contact. 96.
Big move.
96 into the 97. They make it stick though, and here comes Jason Heaney. Heaney is on 21 lap old tires, so he's on the same strategy as the leader. Mark Cofield is suffering.
Oh, wow! Mark Cofield comes right across the nose of the 9, and they actually make contact in the dog leg.
Yes, they did. Everybody gets away with it. That brings the 97 alongside the 96. But then he loses all of the momentum on the subsequent straightaway, and that's going to give the bottom to Jason Heaney. He's going to throw it down into turns 3 and 4. They hit doors coming to the line. It looks like Days of Thunder every lap out here, Sam.
They're going to be looking, just drive through the smoke is going to be the call to action here in a little bit. Just drive straight through the smoke.
You know it is. There's Joseph Klein. He's been the cause of some of that smoke a few times tonight. But Joseph Klein, he's brought it back to the top 10. Dylan Godness, he's on.
Greg Evans is actually calling for a pit in here.
Let's go ahead and show it. Greg Evans, he's going to bring it to pit road with 86 laps to go.
Sure is.
There's damage to the.
He's having trouble.
Well, there's damage to the front of that Camaro. So Greg Evans is going to bring it to pit lane, and I would suspect that he might have some kind of meatball damage on the deuce because there's a huge indentation, Sam, in the front of that car.
Yep.
And it could be lights out or a lengthy repair, one of the two.
A lot of damage to the front of that Sim Lab number 2 Chevy.
Yes, there is. We're going to get back to the battle though because it is still a raging. There they go. They just dive across that dog leg. We're looking at Christian Light lead. Well, really Jacob Cannon in 4th. He's the 20 to the right of your screen. Christian Light, Jason Heaney, and Mark Cofield. That's the battle we're looking at. Adam O'Brien has checked out from this crew. He's in 3rd. He is about a second up the road. Kendall Paul is
Mark
second.
O'Donohue has actually decided he wants to drive out of everyone's life here in the event. Greg Evans has decided that that's too much damage for him, and he's called it a night. He's got out of the car.
And that means we're down to 17 cars on the lead lap. There are, by my count, 24 automobiles in various states that are still entered. Of those, Donald Green, Ted Craven, Will Moore are on pit lane under extended repair. And we kind of talked about this.
Donald Green actually said at one point he had 9 minutes of damage to repair, but he didn't want to be out of the event yet. So,
well, there he is. He's back in the 6th. And so the reason you do that, he in 5 laps he's going to pass Trevor Benz. In 16 laps he's going to pass Jeffrey Hyatt. Those are two positions. Jacob Smith and Greg Evans are going to be on the table. So you stay out there, you keep running, you're going to be in good shape. The other thing I'd like to point out, this man right here, Brian Sharp, we've played the Watch Out for the Trees music for Brian several times tonight. He goes by Will Moore. He's going to grab another spot. And so right now he's 22nd. If this just keeps, if nothing else happens.
With the Evans is retired from the event, that'll be another spot before the race is over.
Well, he could wind up 20th. And we talked about it at the top of the broadcast. They take the top 20, get a guaranteed spot in the next race and not qualify. So Brian Sharp, he just needs to continue to circulate. There he goes by Jacob Smith. Will Moore has decided to hit the eject button, and so he's no longer on the track. But this is important. You want to continue to circulate, continue to make laps. He's going to get at least one more spot out here. And if there's anything that happens with more than 12 to go, Brian Sharp could pick up even yet more. So, keep it moving in the right direction for Brian Sharp. Good things will happen. You might wind up with a decent day out of all this.
Well, there's no question that resilience has its reward. There's no question about that. If you're willing to endure the hardships that may come against you in some of these races, and you're willing to stick it out, then your resilience, sometimes in these cases where there's so much attrition, that you can get rewarded by just staying out there and making up spots by other people's demise. I mean, I hate to call it for what it is, but it's just that's the fact.
Yeah.
And so drivers like Brian Sharp, who want to make sure that they get every point that they can get, and they're willing to stick it out, or Donald Green, or any of these drivers that are multiple laps down, just stick it out and see where the cards fall for you.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong about that. There is no damaged vehicle policy out here. Andy Dunwoody checks in the chat. He says, come on, boys, go get him. Well, you've got a car in third. You've got a car in 13th. Well, you've got a car in second, a car in third, a car in 13th, and you've got a car 21st that's hit everything but the pace car. So there you have it. There's your team rundown for Black Magic Studios owner Andy Dunwoody. Of course, he goes bowling on Thursday nights, and so he is not able to be with us this evening. But Andy checking in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. We're watching this scrap here. This is Mark Cofield in 7th, Nolan Milnes 8th. You've got Dylan Godin 9th, Edwin James is 10th. Right up in front of them, sneaking in the picture every so often, is Christian Light in 6th. So you've got 6th through 10th, all in a whale of a battle. Will Moore checks in. He says he didn't quit. It just says too much damage, and that happens. And you'll be back next week. But to the point, if you can,
so the sim quit for him.
Yeah,
is what he said.
Kyle Heath also says, "Let's go FGR." He says he sees some had a bad night. Well, it would have been a better night if you would have been here, Kyle. Come on, buddy.
Well, everyone there may be people that feel that way, but Adam O'Brien, actually, who's second in points, is probably elated to know that he has a very good chance, if he has a good finish, to be taking over the points lead.
Well, he's trying to make it a better finish. He's pulled right up on the rear deck lid of Kendall Paul.
Milnes washes up hard into the door of Mark Cofield. But they keep both cars straight as they coming off of 2, and it's just tight racing here in these positions here that you called out just a little while ago.
Yeah, we're gonna go and get a tighter shot on this battle. Nolan Milnes to the inside of Cofield. That battle, this is a hornet's nest of cars, and that battle rages on. There are battle scars on the one of Milnes, and you can see the wrinkle in the rear. Mark Cofield,
that rear wrinkle that you see was actually from the 08 of Dylan Godinez. Actually, he got into the back. He misjudged the braking that the one had. He actually apologized in game to Milnes actually during that particular exchange. But again, the one was able to keep the car straight.
Yes, he was, but he does have some heavy damage to the rear of that machine. And Kyle, we feel that here at the P1 Broadcasting Network. The family is first, and so race when you can. If not, if you've got other commitments, that comes first. This is a hobby, after all, for everybody, from the broadcaster to the admins to the guys on the track. And so I hope your daughter had fun at soccer practice.
Wow. Is there any way you can go back and show Jacob Cannon's car and see and look at how much he cuts the dog leg off? I do not know how he missed the pit lane wall. Honestly.
Yeah, we'll go back.
I do not know how he missed it.
We're going to go back and have a look at it. Sam Crow is mystified as to how Jacob Cannon has managed to not hit anything here. So we're going to have a look at Cannon. Brings the Rogue Energy car off of turn number 4, across the line, and how close does he get, Sam?
let's see if it was this particular lap.
About 3 inches. He's going to have to be careful he didn't hit the pit exit cone because that'll draw a penalty.
It is insane how much of that he cut off.
It is. Jason Heaney has made it past.
Yeah, how does he not draw the penalty there?
Well, you have to hit the cone. In order to draw the penalty, you have to hit the cone. We're going to go back to the Hornet's Nest. Edwin James.
That was
Mark
incredibly close. As Heaney actually gets around him eventually here, and he takes over the 4th spot.
You know, he does. Would like to remind everybody watching with 69 laps to go, now 68, 69 being my number, and Andy Dunwoody being the sponsor of the series. If you'd like a paint that's worth 2/10, go on and visit Blackmagic Studios, Discord, Facebook. Use the promo code P1. Get yourself 10% off a wrap that's worth 2/10 for your iRacing machine. Andy be happy to paint it up for you. Watching Colby Pierce in the No Pass Media Blackmagic Studios, number 42. He is calmly worked his way back up as both Milnes and Merriman get into the turn 2 exit wall. Colby got his car fixed earlier. He is very calmly and steadily worked his way back up, Sam. He was in the top 10 earlier. He's knocking on the door, getting back there.
This is a good sign at this particular juncture that the field is spreading out, and we could actually see a very long green flag run here, and see some green flag pit stops, which can really shake things up depending on who comes in early and runs some hot laps and tries to make up as much track position as they can. And then you'll have some drivers that'll wait to the very end of their cycle so that their tires will be the freshest at the end of the race. The problem is that if they wait too long and the race goes green, will they have enough laps that they can utilize those tires and catch those cars that short pitted?
You know, that's a good point, Sam. The window is open. 65 laps to go. Watching the battle here
We are definitely in that one.
Watching the battle here from 10th to 13th, you've got Cofield hanging on to the bottom part of that top 10. Colby Pierce goes around Edwin James. I don't think there is a straight panel on that 46 machine. But Colby Pierce trying to get around it because the top 10 is in sight. Sean Merriman's going to drop to the bottom of Nolan Milnes, and you can tell by how loose the number 1 is. I think he's used up the right rear of that machine. He's doing his best Lionel Callisto impression coming off of these corners. Pierce now all the way up to the top. He's going to get a huge run. Merriman's going to try to get in the middle. And I thought we were going to have a merger situation there for a second. Nolan Milnes is going to bring it into pit lane, Sam. He's had enough.
Well, the car, sometimes when you get into these particular races with a track that's so temperamental as Phoenix can be, once you start losing the ability to make up spots and the car begins to tell you, okay, I've had enough, then you have to make those decisions and come in and get fresh rubber.
I bring it up only because it is ever changing. It has gotten a little bit warmer yet. Still 76 in the air, Sam. 84 now on the track, so it's gotten a little bit warmer on that asphalt. The tires might be wearing out a little bit more quickly. Sean Merriman has gone by Edwin James and Colby Pierce both, so put Merriman in 11th. He'll set his sights on Mark Cofield in 10th. This is by far the best battle on the speedway, except for this one. Kendall Paul has pulled away from Adam O'Brien, and he is within a half a second of leader Ryan O'Donoghue. They are on the same tire strategy, Sam. 48 laps for O'Donoghue, Paul, O'Brien, and Heaney. Jacob Cannon is showing us what the edge of the fuel run is, though. He's all alone, really, in 5th. Jacob Cannon has been out for 92 laps on his current set of tires.
Wow, well, it was evident that he was on older tires simply because of the positions that he was dropping. But again, if he pits before some of these leaders because his cycle is sooner, then he can make up a lot of positions on fresh rubber. But again, if he pushes too hard and uses up too much tire, then it's only going to benefit those that pit later to catch him with fresh tires as well. There's just there's so many variations to how things can play out here and how the drivers do it. Kendall Paul has given us a great illustration of what happens when you have a driver like Ryan O'Donoghue, who actually jumped out to as much as a 2-second or greater lead. Is that Kendall Paul actually paced himself, was running equal lap times, and now he has closed up this gap up on the leader, and now it's within 0.2 of a second. So just the strategies on long green flag runs at this particular track can come into play and benefit those that are willing to make the gamble in the right way, in the right context. So you'll have the sprinters, and then you'll have the long distance running guys.
You've got it. Speaking of sprinters and long distance, Corey Crandall has stopped. He has 6 laps on his current stint. Crandall has gone by Kendall Paul, and we're going to watch Corey Crandall because he is going to go by Ryan O'Donoghue in pretty short order. Corey Crandall, his last time through 28.603 to 28.822 for O'Donoghue, 29.035 for Kendall Paul. So you talk about making up time. Corey Crandall is making up time. He goes back to 1 lap down. We've got green flag pit stops underway.
Think about how much wear is on O'Donoghue's tires.
Yeah.
As compared to Crandall's tires, and he is still maintaining a 0.2 difference in speed with Crandall.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point.
That's impressive. It's actually impressive.
It is. Now, we think these guys can go at least another 20 laps, O'Donoghue and Kendall Paul. Kendall Paul, after he lost some time when the lap car Crandall went through, he resumes station right behind Ryan O'Donoghue. And, maybe gaining ever so slightly, just a little bit more. Do want to thank all of our sponsors and partners here at the P1 Broadcasting Network. Blackmagic Studios, go find them on Facebook or Discord. Use the promo code P1. Get yourself a 10% off a wrap worth 0.2. Do got to give a shout out to Archway Industrial Coatings, Rogue Energy drink for all of their support. Track Racer as well for their support of the series. Whiplash Sim Cams for bringing us these wonderful camera angles. We've got 55 to go. You're watching the battle for the lead. That's Ryan O'Donoghue that has it. Kendall Paul wants it. They have driven away from Adam O'Brien in third.
Now, let me point out another strategy here that could be played out. Is Jacob Cannon just announced that he is making his pit stop as well as Edwin James. Now, these cars are a little further back from the leaders. O'Donoghue and Kendall Paul have actually separated themselves from the field. These cars that are going to be coming out are going to be running hot laps. Now, if you're the leaders, do you make the decision, okay, I'm going to pit with them and keep equal tires so that I can keep my track position and all this lead that I've built up? Or do I keep staying out and losing time to these particular cars and take the chance that they would leapfrog me and I wouldn't have enough laps to pass them back in the closing stage of the race?
That's a good point, Jacob.
So it's interesting. It really is interesting how it plays out.
It most certainly is. There's Jacob Cannon. He's going to bring it back onto the speedway. Cannon only lost 1 lap, and we're going to keep the camera on him just to see kind of what kind of lap times he does. There's the last lap time up.
Now you'll have to watch the first lap because Kendall Paul is going for the lead. I'm sorry to change that thought, but Kendall Paul just passed Ryan O'Donoghue going into turn 3, and he'll come across the start-finish line in the lead for the first time tonight for the 78 of Kendall Paul.
And there he goes. Both cars went through 3 and 4 very high. They're both using that high line. We do have the lap times up so that we can focus in on Jacob Cannon. He is 11th, so that you can get a representation of what new tires mean the last time through. 28.165. Leaders 28.968. 29.225. 29.225 for Ryan O'Donoghue in second. So he's going to start picking up nearly a second a lap, and that's going to last for what? You think at least 10 laps or so?
Oh, yeah. Well, it could last as much as 20 laps, especially considering how many laps are on the leader's tires. It really depends on how hard drivers like Jacob Cannon, who is he's a very aggressive driver. He's not afraid to utilize the throttle pedal, and so fast drivers like that, he may really want to sprint this last 50 laps that he's running. so that he can make up as much track position as he can in hopes of maybe a late caution. But the field is so spread out at this point, we could very well finish under green.
Well, and the other thing is, if you're Jacob Cannon, you want to push hard. You want to push hard for another reason, and that is right now he's a lap down. Justin Osterman is the next car.
Oh, the lucky dog. You want to push right. You want to make sure that you're in a lucky dog position.
You do want to make sure you're in the lucky dog position.
Kendall Paul is driving away from Ryan O'Donoghue now.
Yes, he is. But that's another story, right? Because Osterman, he is a lap down. Well, Kendall Paul continues the lap car, so now Eric Porter is the mark. Well, we got caution on the speedway, and it's Cannon hard into the inside wall.
Oh, wow. Caleb Jones.
So Caleb Jones here, he comes off of turn number 2, and it's so hard for me to not call that turn number 4, Sam. But it's so hard for me to do that. We've got caution on the speedway. We're watching Caleb Jones. He was running in the 13th position at the time. He gets it high. He gets it up in the marbles up there, coming off of turn number 2, and the car won't turn.
That's such an odd spot to apex right there.
And then just hard in the wall.
He just catches the wall. He gets out into no man's land, and you lose the steering out there. It's so hard to turn the wheel, and then once you get into the wall, it just throws you back across the racetrack.
Yeah, it does. We're going to get on board, ride the roll bar with Jacob Cannon. Wholesale pit stops are the order of the day at the front. Paul, O'Donoghue, O'Brien, Heaney, and Godinez all on pit road. Merriman, Pierce, Osterman have not pitted. Merriman is the only other car on that lead lap, though. Pierce and Osterman are likely stand up, but just nowhere for poor Jacob Cannon to go. That's going to
the response time is it's absolutely zero there. It's just zero.
It most certainly is. All of the leaders are more or less on pit lane. There's Sean Merriman. He's going to be the lucky dog. Well, no, I take it back. Colby Pierce is going to be the lucky dog.
Yeah, he should be.
And then you've got these guys here. We're going to have, Osterman's going to come to pit lane, but you're going to have several cars that are going to grab the wave around here. Andy Dunwoody says, "Get up there and rip the cushion, boys." That's not the kind of cushion you want to rip. Old tires and marbles do not mix, my friend. Andy, of course, Sam, if you don't know, is a highly accomplished dirt racer in the sim, and so I sent him a hat.
Well,
I sent him a hat.
You would have to be a good dirt racer to be able to use that kind of terminology.
Well, I sent him a hat last year for Christmas that said "Run the cushion." So Andy gets a kick out of that. I spotted him for the Chili Bowl, and was constantly giving great advice. You know what the advice was, Sam?
What was that?
Run the cushion. That's all he heard from me for 3 hours. Run the cushion. Kendall Paul leads it. We're going to come back to green here, Sam.
Well, it's going to. This of course changes everything in regards to what's going to happen. We've clearly seen where Ryan O'Donoghue has proved that he's not afraid to push this car hard at the beginning of a run. And I'm interested. I didn't do the math to see how many laps that it took Kendall Paul to actually close back in on him and make that pass for the lead. Ryan O'Donoghue's very quick on a sprint type atmosphere. But we also know that Adam O'Brien, Dylan Godinez, and Jeff Heaney, all these drivers have proved that they can get their cars to the front. Kendall Paul may rethink his strategy and want to pull out front here and just hold this lead to the end of the event.
Whoa, caution, hard into the wall, O'Donoghue.
Oh, my heavens, no!
Hard impact end over end, Dylan Godnez. And that's going to wipe out at least 3 more of our contenders. We only had...
That was, Ryan O'Donohue just got up in the marbles again on that high side, and it pushed the front end of the car into the wall.
Kyle, he said it was going to be exciting now. You got it. I was about to mention the wave around cars had not yet been able to catch the rear of the field. And so this is going to be a break for like Colby Pierce and Corey Crandall.
Edwin James, Christian Light, who has been so fast tonight. Milnes catches part of that. There's been, oh my heavens.
So hard
We're
in the
going to
wall.
have to send the ambulance out to get
hard into the wall.
Oh my heavens, to get Dylan out of the car. What incredible impact there on the backstretch.
46 is involved, as is the 96. So that is
Christian Light, Edwin James.
Nolan Milnes also gets a piece of that.
Nolan caught a piece of this wreck as well.
98 backing up, trying to get back going again. That looked like a demolition derby move into the 46, but he's not doing anything. He's just trying to get going. Brian Sharp is slowly proceeding through. He feels as though he's had enough contact this evening. So there's Sharp.
Look at the entire bottom. You can just see every bit of the bottom of that car as it rolls to a stop there on the back stretch.
You know what? Let's go.
Smoke coming out of the 14. Smoke coming out of the 96.
Let's get in the cockpit of Dylan Godnez as Ryan O'Donohue comes off the wall, and just, this is going to be in slow motion, so it's not going to look nearly as violent as, so hood comes up and you don't see any of the impacts. Hopefully Dylan either does not have a direct drive wheel.
Well, I noticed on that replay right there as you started that, Kendall Paul actually caught the right rear in the wall as well.
He did a little bit. It wasn't bad. It could have been net code.
Right.
But Godnez just end over end. He's rolling. We're going to land on top of Nolan Milnes.
What a sensation if you're sitting in your simulator and all you see is asphalt out the windshield of your car. Not a good feeling.
No, and I'll give you another piece of advice, Sam. The brakes don't work when you're upside down either.
It certainly doesn't slow you down. The only thing that can do that at that particular point is the asphalt and the wall.
You are 100% right. Kendall Paul is going to lead Adam O'Brien, Jason Heaney, Sean Merriman, and Colby Pierce up to 5th. Joseph Klein, he's had an eventful day. He is 6th. Corey Crandall and Eric Corder are the last 2 cars on the lead lap. Everybody else is a lap down. We've got 21 machines still involved in the race. We probably only got 17 or 18 actually on the track as we get back to green flag action. 39 laps to go here in the Cactus 200 from Phoenix. You're watching the Blackmagic Studios American Motorsports Association Grand National Series. Kendall Paul leads it. Jason Heaney going for 2nd. Sean Merriman wants a piece of Adam O'Brien. He's going to go to 3rd. Hard in the wall for the 7 of Klein.
Flag is out.
It's getting really antsy with those folks now. With so few cars that are left on the lead lap.
Yeah, they're trying to get everything they can.
Guys are getting hungry now. They're getting really hungry.
Yeah, the amount of room that's being given is getting a little less and less. Colby Pierce on the bottom.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah, you got Colby on the bottom. You got Joseph Klein on the top. And what have we got here that causes that massive shunt? It looked like Klein started.
Colby Pierce looks like he's holding his line. Again, it's just where they funnel in so closely, and the expectation could be Joseph Klein's thinking that Colby's going to go below that yellow line, and he doesn't do that.
No. And Colby doesn't.
There's no obligation on Colby's part to go below that line. There's nothing that says he has to do that.
No.
It's really the responsibility of the car on the outside to make sure that they pay attention to what's going on with the car on the inside of them. And so it's just tough. If you anticipate, sometimes you pay the price for wrongly anticipating something.
Yeah, and that's worth mentioning again. There's no obligation for Colby Pierce to go below that yellow line.
No, there is not.
And when you see guys cut the dog leg there, you got to remember that is not the racetrack. And there is a school of thought that says that NASCAR should make that area out of bounds. They have not done so, but when the open wheel cars come here, that is out of bounds for us. There's a cone there, and you cannot go below it. As a matter of fact, in the sim, if you put more than half of your car below that yellow line, it's a black flag and a stop and hold for cutting the course. So there's depending on the rules here, there's no obligation. But Colby Pierce continues to run along in fifth. Kendall Paul is your leader. Lights are still on the pace car. Jason Eny second. Sean Merriman third. Adam O'Brien fourth. Colby Pierce is fifth. So that's going to please Andy Dunwoody. He's got 3 cars in the top 5. Eric Quarter is sixth. Justin Osterman has gotten himself back on the lead lap. How about that? So he's going to be 8th. Corey Crandall is going to be 7th.
Considering all of the chaos that the 53's seen all night, he's still persevering for a good finish tonight.
He is, and we talked about this man, and we've documented the trials and tribulations of Brian Sharp. The 125 is battered, it's bruised, it's beaten, but it is broken, but it is not beaten. When he came back on the track, he was 30th. He is now 20th.
And you correctly predicted that he could very well get up to the 20th position.
Well,
so far he is there.
He's got more. Caleb Jones, Edwin James, Dylan Godnez, and Ryan O'Donohue are all within reach of Brian Sharp. He could conceivably, and Joseph Klein now, who is punched out of the 7, he could conceivably, if he runs the rest of the laps, finish 15th here.
Now a big jump for Kendall Paul as he pulls out to the lead on the green flag. Sean Merriman is now rearing his number 18 Washington Commanders car out into the 2nd position.
He is indeed. There is heavy attrition in this field. I think we probably only have, by my count, we've only got a dozen cars on the speedway, maybe 13 cars still left circulating. Certainly no more than 15. Watch them spread out, go through that dog leg. You're watching the top 5. I know that Andy wants to see the paint schemes, but quite frankly, this is a good way to show not only the differing lines, but the whole battle. Jacob Cannon checks in, says heartbreak because the 12 was broken, didn't park it. That can be sometimes, but hey, he's out there, he's trying to make up spots. It is a championship after all, and so you can't really fault the guy. And watch Brian Sharp.
Those are all part of the equation of racing that we all have to accommodate and make sure that we pay close attention to. And sometimes we fall victim to it, and sometimes we don't. It is part of the racing that cars would want to stay out. Like, we have spent so much time talking about drivers like Justin Osterman, and of course Brian Sharp and others who have persevered through a lot just simply so that they can rack up a decent finish, and their perseverance has paid off for them. However, you have drivers like Jacob Cannon who really had to suffer through an unfortunate, through Caleb Jones's misfortune became Cannon's misfortune, and sometimes it just plays out that way. It doesn't mean we have to like it. Doesn't mean that we have to accept it, but sometimes it just plays out that way, and those are the results that we have to deal with.
It does, and I did want to put the spotlight on the number 35 Tracker Boats machine. That is Corey Crandall. He is 7th. He stopped under that last yellow, and so Corey Crandall does have the freshest tires on the speedway among the lead lap cars. He is 7th. It has been an eventful day. The 35 does carry the scars from those battles, but he's got the fresh tires on that. Chevrolet, and if it stays green, that may be to his benefit. He's got 10 laps fewer than everybody else around him. Meanwhile, Sean Merriman, Jason
Now your
Heaney,
friend Adam O'Brien is now taking over the 2nd spot.
Well,
Sean Merriman falls back to 4th.
Yeah, somebody's told Adam O'Brien that there's a cone to hit somewhere in front of him, and he has got the bit between his teeth. Adam O'Brien goes to second. Kendall Paul, teammate to Adam O'Brien, leads it. Heaney third, Merriman fourth. Colby Pierce soldiers on in fifth. I think that among these cars up here, Kendall Paul and Adam O'Brien, I believe, have the cleanest automobiles. Pretty much everybody else that is on that lead lap, Sam, has been involved in an incident one way or another today. Have I got that right?
I think every car except for the pace car has been involved in something at some point.
Well, it's good that I'm not on
in some capacity, and so just with the racing the way it's been, even under green flag conditions, you've seen cars that have been door to door. You've seen cars getting into the back of other cars, and so I don't know that any car has gone unscathed tonight. But I will tell you, while it's fresh on my mind, I do want to say thank you to all the viewers that have stuck this thing out and stayed with us and watching this race until the end. We appreciate you staying with P1 Broadcasting as we watch the penultimate finish of this race here at Phoenix at the AMA. It really does constitute true online racing fans that are willing to stick it out under the circumstances that we've seen tonight with so many cautions. So really kudos to those that have stayed with us.
Yeah, we do still have a pretty big audience here, and the YouTube analytics tell us that that you you have all been watching for most of the event. Usually when you do these broadcasts, you might get 10 or 12, maybe as many as 15 people tune in, and that's a good night. And have a couple of hundred people watch it. Have a couple of hundred people watch it back over 24 hours. We've been above 30 people all night, and the average person that's tuned this in has been with us for 15 minutes. That's tremendous. Yeah, that's incredible.
Thank you to the fans. Thank you so much.
That's incredible, and we do thank you. And just a reminder, if you haven't already done so, hit the like button on the video, ring the bell so that you get more high-quality sim racing action here at the P1 Broadcasting Network. 24 laps to go. We're watching Corey Crandall, and the reason we're doing so is he is the closest battle. This is the closest battle on the track. And he's got the sticker tires, and so I was anticipating that he was going to pull up on the back of Justin Osterman. That hasn't materialized, though, and so you wonder if maybe the 35 is too heavily damaged. We're going to cut back to Jason Heaney because he's closing back in on Adam O'Brien for second.
I noticed the same thing. Yeah, Jason Heaney has done a really great job of just minding his P's and Q's, hitting his marks. He knows his driving style. He knows exactly what he wants to do with this set of tires, and he didn't mind relinquishing that spot to Adam O'Brien, but he's pacing himself with still 21 laps left in the event. He may have something up his sleeve here at the end for Adam O'Brien. I don't know about Kendall Paul, but he may have something here for Adam O'Brien.
Yeah, he's dropped to the bottom of the 98. That is Keith Ayers, and Ayers is going to stay out of the way of the leaders. He's got Sean Merriman. You see you got Sean Merriman back in the back of the picture watching Jason Heaney. He is third. Last time through, though, he was 0.2 slower than Adam O'Brien. Jonathan Cofield checks in the chat. He says he's pulling for Mark Cofield. Yeah, but it's unfortunate, and he's right. That last caution that he was involved in pinned him to that caution.
The big accident on the backstretch really hurt Mark tonight. Mark had an incredibly strong car.
He did, and he had to stop and effect a large amount of repair. He does have some fresh shoes on that car, but he is 2 laps down. Don't count him out, though. We get a couple of cautions here. He'll get be in line for the lucky dog. So don't count him out, Jonathan. Still watching Jason Heaney as he attempts to run down Adam O'Brien. A touch of the stopwatch faster, 28.638 to a 28.636. But then Adam O'Brien, he's going to pull it back. Here's the last 4 laps for Jason Heaney. In his number of seconds behind Adam O'Brien. So there kind of tells the story. He is closing. Is it going to be enough?
The tendency is that when you get into the closing stages of these races and you're in a position like Heaney is in, where he knows he wants to catch O'Brien, who's in front of him. The tendency is, as a driver, sometimes you may start to overdrive the car a little bit just in an effort to try and make up the distance yourself, rather than sticking to your game plan or what you would normally run. You might drive it in a little deeper, or you may get into the throttle a little sooner. And, of course, this affects your tire wear in the long run. And it may not be because you're purposely doing it, just subconsciously. You're thinking, I have to catch him, and so it really can change your driving style in the closing stages, the closing laps of the race, when you're a driver and you're catching somebody for a position.
It does, and you can see him, and you're riding on the roll bar of Jason Heaney. You can see him, and you can see that gap visually closing. You've got the relative open. You see the number decreasing, and you get motivated. That's the good word. Yeah, motivated. Yeah, you get motivated. Man, I can catch him. I can drive it just a touch deeper. I can hit the brakes just a little bit later. I can get back in the gas a little bit sooner. And the next thing you know, you're going slower. And so that's the the challenge.
Exactly. It's such a fine line sometimes when it comes to tracks like Phoenix that demand your skill to save the tire. Because you can build up heat in these tires, especially on a track like Phoenix that does not have as much banking, and once you start building that heat up, it really does. It takes all the advantage that you had of the tire away once heat begins to get up in those tires.
It does, and then from the same perspective, it is difficult to cool them off in these cars. It seems as though the tire model doesn't. It takes a lot of effort to cool them back off, and then the same goes for Adam O'Brien. You look off the gearbox of Adam O'Brien. Heaney charged into turn number 1 just a little too hard, and he
sure did. He washed up the racetrack.
You could visually see it. You saw the nose come down in the middle of the corner. He had to hit the brakes to avoid knocking down the wall. And for Adam O'Brien, that means that the number 9 gets a little bit smaller in the rearview mirror of this man's machine, the Blackmagic Studios number 87. Mr. Conehead, he's having himself a pretty good day. He's looking to take the points lead at the end of this thing.
And Adam is actually there for a few laps. It looked like he kind of maintained the same distance with Kendall Paul. I'll be interested to see how they race these last 10 laps and see if Adam O'Brien decides whether or not he wants to just ride it out here in second place and have a decent finish, or if he wants to make a big run at Kendall Paul in the closing laps. But now let's face it, Paul has proved that he knows how to manage his tires at this particular racetrack. He's ran fast laps here. He's won poles here. And tonight, even on the long run, he ran Ryan O'Donoghue down and took the lead and began to leave Ryan O'Donoghue. So Kendall Paul is no rookie when it comes to this racetrack, nor to online racing. So it's going to be interesting to see how they want to play out these last few laps.
It is, and the same thing goes for Adam O'Brien that we just talked about. He can see the leader. He's right there, and he's been consistently anywhere between 60 and 70 thousandths of a second quicker than Kendall Paul the last few times through. He's got it down to 1.3 seconds at the line. That last time by, though, Kendall Paul and Kendall Paul goes that same amount faster than Adam O'Brien, but Kendall Paul all the way up to the wall, and he might have hit it. If Kendall Paul didn't get in the fence there,
if he's in the lead, I mean, you want to win these races. You want to win these races, and I know some people may feel like a race that is filled with so many cautions as what we've had tonight is that it can't be exciting, or if it's not important to these drivers. You couldn't be more wrong, because when you've endured sitting in the car for this long and endured that many cautions, it can get into your head, and it can really begin to affect you psychologically late or in these races, that how much you just don't want to be here and that you do want to be here. And so when you're leading late in events like this that can play on you so emotionally, it is rewarding to know that you stuck it out. It really is rewarding.
It is, and Kendall Paul, we're riding on board with him. You're looking out the right eyeball of Kendall Paul as he traverses the Phoenix Raceway. He's pedaling that baby. You know, he's shifting down into third gear through 3 and 4. He's taking it right out
Notice
to the
how
wall.
he diamonds that 1 and 2 corner. As more wear gets on the tire, he begins to diamond the second turn.
Yeah.
He'll go in mid track, washed out to the wall, and then he'll cut a lot of that corner off of 2 as he comes down the backstretch.
Yeah, he is. He's also shifting in both ends of the track now. Normally, you might only do that down here, but Kendall Paul, using the gear shift lever, he's doing everything he can to stay ahead of Adam O'Brien. O'Brien cut another 30 thousandths out of it that time, but O'Brien, I think, is just too far back to mount any sort of a challenge. You do have lap traffic that's going to play into this too, and so you got to wonder, you know.
Well, it won't be the 6th. Donald Green gets completely out of the way for him.
Yeah, and I don't think Brian Sharp is going to put up too much of a fight either. That's a team car to both O'Brien and Kendall Paul, and so Sharp going to stay out of the way. He will also, I would wager, pull over for Adam O'Brien. And guess where Sharp is? We've got the telemetry up. Really, only 7 cars in the lead lap. Brian Sharp. He's
say it. Go ahead.
He's been through it. He is 15th.
Perseverance has its rewards. There's no question.
It most certainly does. Watching Kendall Paul, there are only 6 cars on the lead lap, 7 cars, Justin Osterman and Corey Crandall appear to be set for lead lap finishes, and that's going to be an achievement here. Eric Corder is 1 lap down in the 77, nearly about to be 2. He is right in front of Kendall Paul, and he's in the wall. We're going to have to go back and watch. We're going to have to go back and watch this from Kendall Paul. You're leading the race, and the car in front of you does this, Sam. What are you thinking?
Well, again, I think we mentioned this at the season opener race at Daytona, is that a lot of drivers have to learn.
Now Kendall Paul is in the wall.
Brown pants. He sure is.
Yeah, you got to be. You know, Adam O'Brien is not so far back that he can afford a mistake here.
Oh, no question. Especially with Kendall changing gears, he's trying to generate speed coming off the corner, but a lot of times it will. My experience is that changing gears has a tendency to wear the tires quicker, and so by changing gears,
you're keeping it in the power band, and you're applying more torque to the rear wheels. You're also generating more speed at corner exit, which wears out the fronts. But Kendall Paul doesn't have to worry.
It causes the car to push terrible in the corner.
Yeah, but Kendall Paul doesn't have to worry about that. He's going to come off at turn 4 and take the Cactus 200 here at the Phoenix Raceway. Adam O'Brien is second. Jason Heaney in the number 9 is going to bring it home in third. Heck of a race there at the end. We didn't ever think we were going to get some green flag racing there for a time, but when we did, it was a good one, Sam.
It was well worth the watch. You're exactly right. Kendall Paul pulls off a big win here in the AMA.
Black Magic Studios Grand National Series, the Cactus 200. Kendall Paul is your winner. Adam O'Brien going to bring it home second. Jason Heaney rounds out the podium. Sean Merriman fourth. Colby Pierce perseveres into fifth. Good job for Colby. Corey Crandall is sixth. Justin Osterman seventh. Eric Corder eighth. Mark Cofield ninth. Lee Campbell is going to round out your top 10. In 11th, Keith Ayers, Nolan Milnes 12th. Christian Light 13th. Caleb Jones 14th. And Brian Sharp. How about Brian Sharp? He is 15th. Donald Green 16th. Joseph Klein 17th. Jacob Cannon 18th. Leader early. Tough break for Jacob. Ryan O'Donohue is 19th. Dylan Godnez is going to be 20th. 21st, Edwin James. Greg Evans 22nd. Jacob Smith 23rd. Will Moore 24th. Jeffrey Hyatt 25th. Trevor Benz 26th. Ted Craven 27th. Michael Moquin, Zachary Wake, and Mark Ouellette. They're going to round out the front 30. 31st, John Hutchins. 32nd, Brian Wassermans. Michael Kirk, Braden Langley, Ryan Floyd, Keith Graham, and Jonathan Wiley are going to round out the field. Kendall Paul is burning them down with the win.
I don't recall the last time that I watched the Phoenix race with this much attrition, though, to be honest.
No, there was a lot of it.
I can't recall the last one. I've seen some Phoenix races that have been caution field. I've been a part of some of those races, but I don't know that a field of this size that I've seen this much attrition. From what I've seen from these drivers in the previous races already, these drivers are capable of racing like what we saw in the second half of this event, and so I'm sure that they're going to reload and come back next week and put on a good show.
Well, and
all things considered,
and truth be told, it's a learning curve for some of these guys too. Many of them have not raced together on a short oval before, and so you're still learning tendencies and things of that nature. And we're going to learn some tendencies from the third place man. That's going to be Jason Heaney. Jason, you're live in the P1 broadcasting booth. Mark Murphy, Sam Crow, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you what. It took a while to get going, but when it did, Jason, it was a ton of fun. Tell us about your day.
Yeah, it was a heck of a race. Really had the goal of trying to be up in the front early on and try to stay out of trouble and try to stay ahead of it. And for the most part, did. Had a little bit there in that first stage where, we had a decent finish there to finish the stage. I think it was 7th, if I recall, 6th or 7th. And stayed out and took the lead, and we had so many caution laps, figured I'd try to save a set. And then when we got a short green flag run in that second stage, kind of saw that the tires and the difference was enough from the guys that pitted, so decided to pit and try to make it back. And fortunately restarted 24th and made it back to 9th in that stage, so it was nice to get some stage points there for almost making a poor decision in trying to save some tires. But then that third stage, just trying to stay out of trouble. Had a couple close calls with a couple cars in front of me there, but that kind of gave me a scare. But just kept the nose clean and just tried to run solid laps, and wasn't as fast as the 78 and 87 tonight. I didn't have that speed, but I had a really good car on the longer the run got, the better the car felt. Except there at the end, I kind of drove it hard. I used them tires up, trying to see if I could keep up with them, but once I couldn't and noticed I had a bit of a gap on the rest of the field, just figured I'd just kind of ride it out the last few laps and make sure I can make it to the end.
Finishing third is a heck of a lot better than finishing on the hook. So good job, good work to you, Jason. Sam, what say you to our bottom step of the podium today?
Jason, a quality finish tonight. Congratulations on the podium finish. I noticed that your car was probably one of the cleanest cars on the racetrack tonight. Though there were a lot of close calls, your car was actually one of the cleanest cars as far as keeping the nose clean, as you said earlier. I was just a little curious, though. Did you have a set of tires left?
I ended up not. No, I did not. So I was praying for no caution there at the end, because I'm sure there was a couple drivers that did. I know my teammate Corey in the 35, he finished 6th. He was praying for a caution with 20 to go because he wanted to put a set on and try to make something happen. But I did not.
Right. I was interested to see. Yeah, I was interested because you were talking about how hard you were pushing this particular last run to keep pace with O'Brien and Kendall Paul. If maybe you were pushing it that hard, that you knew that you still had a bullet in the chamber, so to speak.
No, I just decided to ride with it when that restart happened, and I started second on that last restart and didn't get a good start, and I fell back to 4th, and I was like, I gotta push to get back to get in touch with Kendall, and I got within 2 seconds and got to third, and then noticed how it kind of fell back. The rest of the field kind of separated. I had like 4 or 5 seconds over fourth, and I was like, okay, I'm just a second off of O'Brien. Like, I got to figure out what I'm missing, and I didn't know, and I really wasn't comfortable with it anyways, was they were using third gear in the corners to help the car rotate a little bit better. And I've tried it before. I did it here last season in the AMA season finale, and it seemed to help at times, but it didn't work well for me in practice. So I kept it in fourth the whole time, and I think that's maybe where I didn't have the car set up to really feel or handle the way I wanted to and use that third gear. So I think that was
Sure.
my I was kind of just sending it there at the end, just praying that no cautions and use these tires up, make it to the finish, and hey, I'll take a third. That's good in my
Absolutely.
book.
You drove my kind of race. You kept it clean. You avoided all the issues. You raced your race. You didn't get baited into racing someone else's race. So congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Yeah, and whenever you finish on the podium here at P1, the microphone becomes yours. Friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like shout out to? You go.
I'd love to I appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to first AMA. Great series, great league, so much fun. Enjoy competing with these guys in this series. Team FGR, First Gear Racing, another stellar race for us. We had some drivers with some issues, and it's the first race of the season that we couldn't get one of us on the top spot. So we're going to have to fix that and try to come back stronger next week. That's where I failed today. I got to third, but I did not get to first. But thanks to all the team that came out and raced tonight. And great teamwork and great effort putting forward another race in the book. So shout out to kids at home, Alex, Zoe, Christopher, TJ. And love you guys and appreciate the support, and thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. It's great to watch.
Yeah, it's great to be here. It's a privilege to get to call you guys, and keep going fast and having fun, Jason. We'll see you next week.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Have a good night.
Congratulations,
Yes,
Jason.
Thank you.
That is Jason Heaney. He is going to run third tonight. We'll go ahead and grab second place man Adam O'Brien and bring Adam into the booth. Adam, you got Mark and Sam in the P1 Broadcasting booth. A return for you to the podium after your run last week. Thought you might have a crack at the top step. You were catching him, but it wasn't quite enough. Tell us about your day.
I more or less have to really thank Justin and Black Magic for teaching me the track, because this track is more my kryptonite with that tight little turn over there before coming to the start finish. I got really lucky to have such great friends and help to be able to get faster at tracks that I struggle at a little bit, and it's just a blast to be back here. Granted, it's second. I wanted to lead, but we will definitely take second to a team car.
Yeah, Sam?
Congratulations, Adam. Great job tonight. If I don't usually Mark is really quick on the points thing, but have you thought that with Kyle Heath not here and you were second in points that you may very well be our new points leader?
Actually, I did get confirmation from Kendall that after tonight I am leaving here with the points lead, which is really nice to know that I'm sitting there, which if I keep having solid runs, I should be able to hold it pretty good and lock in for this half of the season.
My second comment to you also, Adam, I noticed tonight that there were a couple of on those restarts. Can I get a little bit of your, or can we get just a little bit of your opinion about how the racing was playing out on some of those restarts for you?
Well, I mean, I prefer the inside. The inside definitely had a little bit better run, especially getting down into that long sweeping turn. Being on the outside, it was a little bit harder because you had all the cars that were able to hit the dog leg a lot shorter and cut it a lot further before getting to that first turn, so they had a better run getting in. But other than that, I mean, restarts were just try to be smart, hit the shifts like I needed to, and be smooth once I got to the sweeping turn, and hopefully get a good enough drive to fall back in line with everybody or get back down to the bottom.
Yeah, well,
you had a great finish tonight. Super drive.
Yeah, you did. I know that you were a little bit under the weather before the race start. You feel better now, Adam?
Not really. I'm still dealing with a massive migraine. It's not the greatest.
Yeah, well, sometimes going fast and having fun can cure what ails us. So great run tonight, my friend. Great job. Great looking car. Friends, family, sponsors, anybody like shout out? We'll let you go take care of that head.
Definitely got to thank everybody at Dark Horse Performance, Andy, Colby, Kendall, Brian, Justin, my brother Pat, everybody there. Just fantastic having the name on my car. Definitely got to thank Reflex Photography, who's actually going to be my micro sprint car sponsor for this year. Does great photography work if you're in the PA area. He does fantastic work. You can find him on Facebook at Reflex Photography. Got to thank No Pass Media and Colby. Does great photos in the sim. Just fantastic with what he does. Definitely got to thank Admin Box for putting the sponsor on all the Black Magic cars. Like they're a great hand to have. Got to thank Kendall for the league and all the staff here. They do a great job, putting a lot of effort week in, week out. And you guys for broadcast, and it's incredible. I'm about to actually go back and watch the whole race again over.
Yeah, well, we do appreciate you, Adam. Thank you so much for coming out. I know you're not feeling the best, and we'll get you out of here. Let you go nurse that headache. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Fantastic
Have
job,
a good
Adam.
one.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hold that lead, brother.
I won't try.
And before we bring up Kendall Paul, I will flash the points up here. Do want to thank everybody for the patience. Didn't have time to clip it. I tried to make it nice and pretty. Adam O'Brien is your points leader, 17 ahead of Sean Merriman. Jason Heaney will go to third. Ryan O'Donoghue fourth, and Kyle Heath, by virtue of not being here, will fall down to fifth. Moquin Pierce, Greg Evans, Edwin James, and Justin Osterman are going to be the remainder of the top 10. So that's your points as they leave Phoenix. And we'll go ahead and get the man of the hour into the booth here. It is series boss, series director, Kendall Paul. He is also the winner tonight. Kendall, you kept the car. First of all, is the 78 clean or is it damaged?
I mean, the exterior is clean now after that burnout. It's the motor's gone, but no, we didn't have a single dent in this thing. We kept her clean all throughout the race. That was the main goal all night tonight.
There you go, man. That's
it was certainly going to be required when so many cars were dealing with so much attrition.
Yeah, for sure, and that's what we were kind of noticing throughout the race and trying to keep it clean and everything. And it got a little dicey when half the field stayed out, and we were I think it was after stage one, we were like 16th or something, and trying to pick our way through the field. There were 3, 4, 5 wide, something like that in turn one. So it was crazy getting through that and everything, trying to make it to the end. And we've kind of dug ourselves a hole before this race at Daytona and Atlanta, getting wrecked out early. So definitely needed the points today. So that was the main goal, was to come out here, get stage points and that sort of thing. That was accomplished, and I was really just wanting a top 3 out of this thing and cap off the night. And some other things happened, and we turned out to be the fastest car on the racetrack. And I mean, that last part of the portion, that's probably the most dominating I've been for quite some time. The last time I probably did something like this was at Kansas last year. But really fast, number 78, Archway Industrial Coatings, WeatherStack, Black Magic Studios, Admin Box, Storm Tracker 78, Ford Mustang.
So do you have that memorized, or are you like me and have to read it off the side of the car? I have to admonish Gary. He changes camera angles, and I'm like, Gary, no, you got to stop. I'm trying to read. I'm trying to read the side. Do you have to do that, or do you have it all down pat?
I got some of them memorized. I'm watching the broadcast, so you're showing it. So I was just reading them off there, and yeah, got it. Also, I think I said Admin Box and Storm Tracker 78 and Dark Horse Performance, all those guys.
Yeah,
I think I got everyone.
You did, man. Congratulations. Keep going fast and having fun, Kendall. The points that you do that, the points are going to take care of themselves. So we're going to get you out of here. We're going to let you celebrate and tell the boys we said hello, will you?
Yeah, for sure.
Congratulations, kid.
I want to thank you guys over here at P1, and just wanted to give a shout out to a family friend that's in the hospital right now. Just got out of surgery here not too long ago. Hopefully she gets better, and hopefully we'll see her in a week and back up and going. So shout out to her, and thanks to the friends and family and everything watching out. Gotta thank them too as well. So yeah, we'll take this win and get locked in the playoffs.
There you go, Kendall. That's Kendall Paul. He is your winner tonight. And Sam, our streak of Black Magic Studios AMA Grand National Series races will continue. Next week we're gonna go spin the wheel at Vegas. Somebody's gonna put it on red. Somebody's gonna put it on black. And they're gonna hope it doesn't come up on 000. We're gonna be right back here. We're gonna be right back here. Always avoid the 000 roulette, by the way. Don't do that. We're gonna be right back here. Same time, same bad channel. March the 13th for the AMA 200 lapper at Las Vegas. The following week, Homestead. Then after that, Martinsville, Darlington, Bristol, Rockingham, Talladega, and May the 1st caps off 12 races in 12 weeks. The series will be at Texas before Kendale mercifully gives us a week off. But before that can happen, we get to see a lot more action like we did tonight. Once it got going, Sam, the going got pretty good, didn't it?
Well, the racing is always, it can be very good here, but my experience has always been at this particular track that there is the chance that you would have a high attrition race like this. Though I haven't seen one quite as high as this as what we've seen tonight. I have seen races here at Phoenix that can turn out this way, but these drivers late in the event actually show what this track is capable of presenting to us. And Kendall Paul did a masterful job of making sure that he saved his tires on the long run as he took the lead from Ryan O'Donoghue during the long green flag run, and then turn around at the end and take that last set of tires that he had on his Black Magic Ford Mustang, and was able to sprint that car out to the front and keep it there. So there was a lot of versatility at this track, which is what Phoenix can offer you, and hopefully a lot of these drivers will learn from these things how they should race each other as they get to learn each other, and the events that lie ahead will be better for it.
You know, you're 100% correct. And Sam, I know you were stoked about it not being a restrictor plate event tonight. We got to see some short oval action. The next two are 1.5 mile ovals, but they are very different. Vegas, very wide open, it's very wide open. You're going to see
a lot of versatility at Vegas.
But then you're going to go to Homestead, and you're going to have guys running slow on the bottom, and you're going to have guys ripping the fence. And so that's a very versatile track in a very different way, and can't wait for it. And do want to point that out. Do want to continue to thank all of the fans that stuck around for this one. Huge audience for this race, as there has been for every one of the AMA, both Grand National Series, Black Magic Studios Grand National Series races, the Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. That is off tomorrow night. That will return next week during week 13. And speaking of week 13, just as a reminder, there will be no Monday night or Tuesday night top splits. iRacing is taking the week off from the official races so that they can do updates and system maintenance and things of that nature. As for the P1 Broadcasting Network, that means that the next event on our schedule after today is going to be I got a frog in my throat. The next event on our schedule is going to be Sunday night.
Better than an elephant.
Yeah. Sunday night, the Votive IndyCar Oval Series is going to head to the Iowa Speedway. That's going to be 7:50. Then Monday night, you'll see the ISRA Open Wheel Series. We'll be in action at Chicagoland. And then we'll be right back here for the AMA Black Magic Studios Grand National Series, 8:20 p.m. broadcast start, 8:35 race for Sam Crow, Mark Murphy, Gary Godso, everybody at the P1 Broadcasting Network. We do want to thank all the drivers, all the fans. You guys are what makes this so much fun and so special to do. We also want to reach out and thank every one of the first responders out there, the police, the fire, the EMTs, the military, all the people that do the hard jobs in the middle of the night so that we can sleep soundly in our beds. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you. For Mark and Sam, so long. We will see you next week.
Good night. Good night.